game. And for everyone else, if you want that Vulcan Player of the Week statue, tweet at MasterCard Nexus and you could be going home with a little mini Vulcan, and then you too could join in on bullying Licorice. But thanks for watching. That's it for us here.
He did it. Week 9. Finally. He did it. He was not robbed. He joins 3 of the other members of Cloud9 on the little shelf of statues back in the studio.
Hey, what's up?
Are people still putting those up?
I'm not gonna really start talking until I'm done eating my yogurt, but feel free to start giving some comments
but let's talk
or some questions about lineups,
so much credit for the success
whatever you have going on.
Sven and
Just let me know.
Coming in as a brand new bot lane and
I'm gonna try to see if some more people
he began
are
on
interested.
Clutch last split, being one of the more aggressive shot callers for the team, engaging so many times with the Leona with their kind of mid-game Rumble Kiana. So the Leona and his aggressive play got a lot of traction, and we felt like he was good, but didn't really know just how good he was until he joined with Sven, and suddenly it's like the best 2v2 we had in this split.
Right, and again, so much of these accolades for Cloud9 do feel like they come because the whole team is operating on such a high level, and we did touch on it yesterday, but I think it's worth highlighting once again that we have 5 members of our first All-Pro team playing in this quarterfinal today. It just so happens that all 5 of them are on the same team.
Yeah.
And that's Cloud9.
I mean, the fact that they went 17-1 and then the next closest team was 10-8, and you're voting on individual split performance, I'm happy that all 5 of them made it there. I think there were definitely some fair arguments for Someday sneaking in there because of how many games it seemed like he solo carried 400 Thieves, but this, for all 5 of them, I think is well-deserved and well-earned.
I mean, you saw how many stats we were running through about how dominant they were, too. I mean, once that happens, it's not one of those things where it's like, oh, they're just getting voted for because they're in first place. It's like, no, they are so dominant that they all deserve the individual accolades that come with it.
Guess
and you know, that dominance, luckily Azael made, I think, 2 pro
that while we're waiting,
Kingdoms of
I can go over the last hit from last night. So this was my best lineup last night. This is the $33 contest. So I had... This is a 4-3 that I kind of switched up because of salary constraints. So I had an EDG stack, which was very popular last night. It looked like they were going to lose pretty quickly yesterday, which is kind of scary. But we ended up getting there. So Hope had 147.99. That's their 80 carry. Top laner, mid laner, and the team. Pretty basic combination of players. The reason why I went with EDG as my team instead of Griffin is because I had a higher % chance to win. So I figured if Viper has a good set, then Tarzan and Irove would be pretty well correlated with him. So I had 585. First place had 627.68, which is a good score. An important team last night to have was the team spot for JDG. They had 69. 69 for a team is a huge score. So pretty fortunate to get that one. This guy, FJ Bourne, had a 4-2-1 stack. So he had the mid laner from EDG, top laner from EDG, and then the support and 80 carry from EDG. And then RNG, even though they lost last night against Invictus Gaming, they had a ton of kills. So he had their jungler and mid laner. If Invictus Gaming pulled out a 2-0 sweep like they should have, then I would have made a lot more money yesterday. I had this lineup last night, which had a chance. Well, I had a few of them that had a chance. So like I had a lineup with JDG, Viper, Ghost, which isn't great, but then I had 4 players from Invictus Gaming. So if I got the bonuses for games not played, I probably would have come in first place. I like this contest a lot more than Titan's Fury. Like, you don't have the upside of making $50,000 for first place, but I think it's a lot more straightforward. The lineups make more sense. It's easier to be unique. So I'll probably go after this one again tonight. It's nice to go after the big cash and stuff, but it's just so tough. The Titans Fury is really tough. Just having 17 or 18,000 lineups in one contest is kind of crazy, you know. So let's see. Still waiting for the playoffs to start. I don't have any playoff lineups today. I don't like 2-game slates, like, at all. I think they're, like, boring from a DFS perspective. So let me get the information for tonight's contests.
To head over to Summoner's Rift for game number 1.
All right, cool.
In a split,
So they're starting up now.
has really gone the way
So like I said
people
before,
expected.
make sure if you have any questions about League of Legends itself or DraftKings or whatever, just throw me a comment or tweet at me,
2020 season.
and I'll try to answer your question as fast as possible. And let me know if you have any lineups going on right now, or which team you want to have win.
But they're kind of stuck, and everyone's waiting for them to be good. Meanwhile, Cloud9 is absolutely dominating. Tied for the best regular split record in LCS.
I'm eating this yogurt right now. I'm not sure if it's spoiled or not. The date is fine,
There was this
but the
revolving door
taste
of teams.
is strange.
Any of these 5 teams can make a move for second. And then there's a global health pandemic, and everything shuts down. No one really knows what's going to happen to the LCS.
See, it's wild. I mean, 61,000 people are watching this right now. Like, esports is so huge. Even before the whole coronavirus thing.
Casting from their homes online, and
Like, I think that
no one really knows how it's going to feel. But
League of Legends DraftKings will probably be around for a while now.
as we roll into week 9,
I don't see it going anywhere. I mean, I know the end of the season's coming up, which is going to suck, but hopefully there's some overlap between the seasons that they, like, continue to throw out contests and stuff like that, because I think it'd be a big missed opportunity if esports just lets the season finish instead of, like, having some kind of additional tournaments and stuff to fill in the time, because these guys are on quarantine. Like, what are they going to do? Not do anything for like a couple months until the next split starts? It just doesn't make any sense.
TSM beats C9.
Um,
Everyone's wondering if they're going to emerge as the true contender. We end up getting
All right,
a
I'm
three-way
almost
tie for
ready.
second between FlyQuest, 100 Thieves, and EG actually ends as the second place team. Cloud9 is an absolute behemoth. And for the first time in a long time, they go in as prohibitive favorites. But if LCS has taught us anything, and if this split has taught us anything, it's that you never really know what's going to happen next.
Hello and welcome here to game number 1 of the second series of the 2020 Spring Playoffs. Cloud9, 100 Thieves, best of 5. Take 3 and you walk away with the win. I'm Captain Flowers, this is Kobe, and we're about to jump into Champion Select here for that first game.
And I am very excited to see how Champion Select develops over the course of this series, because Cloud9 have been very clear that Reaper, the coaching staff, the team, they all feel like they're...
All right, so now we're getting into pick ban phase. We have Cloud9 is banning out some 80 carry, so that means that they're targeting Cody Sun. That's them basically saying we don't think that you have a big enough champion pool to play against us.
Where Cloud9 make a lot of moves, and C9 in their last game versus 100 Thieves showed what Champion Select looks like when they want to attack this style. They got Callista,
and then 100 Thieves bans out Senna, which I think is always good because Senna's a really broken champion. Cloud9 bans Set, which means they don't think that he's first pick worthy, so I would expect them to pick something like Ornn, because he's like a very good blind pick champion.
As we see the first bans coming through here, there's going to be some
typically in the draft, the first pick is going to be like a blind pick jungler, a blind pick 80 carry, or a blind pick solo laner that can get flexed. Okay, so Cloud9 picks up Aphelios. Aphelios is the best champion in League of Legends right now, in my opinion, especially in a team environment because everybody can play around him. And the way to counter that is by getting heavy engage. So the way to think about that is, like in pro football, if you have a pocket passer, how do you beat a pocket passer like Tom Brady? You put a lot of pressure in his face and force him to like get off of his spot, so it's more difficult for him to do damage. The problem is that Aphelios is broken. So like imagine like Aphelios is the archetype of champion that Aphelios is like a pocket passer basically. But like he's not he's pretty broken right now. So it's more like a Patrick Mahomes situation, where it's like, oh, a pocket passer can't beat us, we'll just drop into a certain kind of coverage, and then you have Patrick Mahomes just destroy your defense, like your zone defense or something like that. Okay, so Cloud9, 100 Thieves picks up Syndra and Callista. Callista can get flexed between top and 80 carry, and then Syndra can also get flexed between mid and 80 carry, so it's a very flexible draft so far, which I think is very interesting, and that's a good tactic by 100 Thieves, because it makes Cloud9 pick things blind, kind of. Like, you have half of the information that you need, and then Cloud9 picks up Blabber and Niski. So, I mean, they pick up Ornn and Nautilus. So Ornn and Nautilus are two great champions. I would think of them as linemen, basically, because they're going to be able to protect Aphelios throughout the game with crowd control.
Now, they're also going to have some more CC in front line in the form of the Nautilus. We've seen this champion be very powerful, especially when paired with something like an Aphelios. But the response from 100 Thieves,
so Ornn also gives the team a lot of scaling, because he he gives the team access to item upgrades which are not available to the other team. And it's actually pretty funny, because that's why my channel name is League of Items, because I've done some analysis on items in the past, and when they released Ornn and said, like, you know, he can upgrade items for your teammates, it costs this much gold, blah blah blah, I like immediately thought it was amazing and broken, and everyone else said I was an idiot about it. So I would like post videos trying to explain why it was actually like a huge advantage, and that's kind of how I started making like a small name for myself with like some of the coaches in League of Legends throughout the world, but never really stuck with that because my channel wasn't big enough and stuff like that. But we'll see if we can change that in the future with DFS and like get back into item analysis and stuff, maybe become a larger League of Legends channel in general, so like do the betting but also do League of Legends stuff.
And with those bans now all resolved, and Trundle being the final ban for Cloud9, 100 Thieves feels comfortable and confident picking this Sejuani.
It's pretty funny because Blabber was tweeting out that he wanted to play some more fun champions, and I specifically asked him what would be those champions for me to use in solo queue, and Kindred was one of his first answers.
Okay, so then 100 Thieves picks up Sejuani. Sejuani is another, like, basically a lineman kind of champion. Zoe is a pick champion. So, in general, Zoe is not the kind of champion that I want on my team for DraftKings, because there are points in the game where she's going to be, like, very selfish and creating pick opportunities for herself. And, like, she can get solo kills, which we don't necessarily want, because a pick can lead to an objective being taken without a fight, and we really want all those fights to happen. And then C9 picks up Nocturne. Nocturne is like a global champion, meaning that he has an ability that can, like, teleport him across the map in an instant, which is very interesting. And that's a very good combination with Aphelios and Zoe and Ornn. I think that Cloud9 destroyed this draft. They have a significantly better draft, and going into this game, Cloud9 is the better team to begin with. So I think that it's just a huge advantage. So. Okay, so we're getting into the game.
This seems to be the matchup
pretty fast.
Reaper believes his team is going to do better against, and that is the one they have chosen.
Exactly, and a lot of people's eyes are on the mid lane. Mark brought it up on the analyst desk, but Ryoma seems like the type of target that Niski and Blabber can abuse. And if you have Zoe and Nocturne, it's very easy to set up pressure on a Syndra. You can see that Ryoma has taken Cleanse in addition to the Flash because of this, so very defensive-minded summoner spells, but you have to go beyond that and try and track the Nocturne. Something about Nocturne is you can't just ward around the mid lane to protect your mid laner anymore. It takes invades, and you have to go ward the actual camps. If you can ward Raptors or maybe Wolves, then having two of the camps warded, you can eliminate the other ones as a possibility and try and figure out where Black is going. And
if I had to guess what 100 Thieves game plan is going to be, it's just, like, play extremely safe. One important thing to take a look at in a game like this is which person has the advantage in each lane, and I think right now Cloud9 has the advantage in every single position in terms of aggression for the early game. So that's a problem, because it means that it's going to be like everybody's asking for help from 100 Thieves. So the jungler is going to be spread too thin. Very difficult to play from this position for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and the scaling that you're talking about is team fight scaling. There's no way that Nocturne ever is going to bring anything to this team fight, because he's also playing Nocturne into a Taric, which is going to make the entire team immune. You can just drop the Taric ultimate. Yeah,
so like right now the analysis that the broadcaster is giving is completely incorrect. The way that this game is going to go, it shouldn't matter that the invulnerability is an option for 100 Thieves, because by the time that Nocturne engages, like it takes time for the ability to activate. So you would have to time it perfectly, and you see it consistently that players are unable to time it perfectly just because it's an extremely difficult thing to do.
They are going to have to take it out of the hands of Cloud9.
Like, I understand his logic, but that's not. It's just not. He's not giving 100% of the story.
And then clear back towards that red area. But it looks like Blabber will be able to grab that chicken camp and then immediately make a transfer down here to the
See, look,
mid-lane.
so this is what I'm talking about. So already, Ryoma had to use his cleanse, which makes it very dangerous for him to be in a lane against Zoe, because Zoe can land like a sleep onto Ryoma and then channel up one of his other abilities and then kind of just make him explode.
Where all of his camps are up. So if you look at the map right now, he has effectively eliminated 2 extra camps that Meteos cannot.
And then this is the advantage that they have. So they're the aggressors in the bot lane. This is also going to make it easier for Cloud9 to go for something like an early dragon.
Available, while Meteos only has the Krugs. This is very intelligent pathing from Blabber that also plays off of Niski's mid lane, which we saw allow him to go for that invade. So this is one of the reasons why Blabber is so good. It's not just his skirmishing. You know, he's not this brainless mechanics only player. He puts a lot of thought into setting this up as well.
Well, the one light shining in the darkness there for Meteos is the fact that he did not get 2 crab. That always feels bad when your opponent manages to get the better of your camps and also grab both scuttle crabs, so he gets away from that one. But Licorice going for the solo kill here into the top lane.
Yeah, so that was a great play by Licorice. Gangplank is supposed to be a champion that scales extremely well into the late game, and he does. Like, he's a good champion. I'm not saying that Gangplank's not a good champion, but if you're playing against Cloud9, I think that the optimal way to play is to try to go toe-to-toe with them in the early and mid game with your champion choices, because if you're basically saying to them, like, we're going to give you another 10 to 15 minutes to try to make plays to beat us, instead of saying, like, we can fight you head to head. It would be like a team trying to run the clock in the first quarter, which is just ridiculous.
Very well done there from Licorice. And honestly, just some disrespect from Sunday. Sunday
So
walked right up the volcanic pillar that had erupted.
So, like, I'm paying attention to the game, but I'm also kind of working on the sheet, so I can update everybody on that.
Exactly when he can accept those kinds of dares, jumps right in and grabs the kill. We'll see if this snowballs into anything further here for the side of Cloud9 on the top half of the map. Blabber still only level 5. He'll take the Scryer's Bloom there, sees the ward that was just placed down by Ryoma, and he'll clear that one away. And then once again, just go back, grab this chicken camp. Pretty effective at doing that with the Dustbringer and Umbra Blades combined, and it allows him to keep up this CS lead over his opponent, who is now heading towards the bottom.
Yep, Blabber keeping that timer. Meteos is
Okay, so like I said, I've said it a bunch.
Oh, nice flash away from
That
Vulcan there.
kill top lane, while it is good and it does give Cloud9 a small advantage, it's like hitting a solo home run. So that's not going to create like a game-winning difference or anything like that. It's just something that's like nice to have happen. But
if you look at the minimap, there again were no camps until just now. The Krugs respawn for Meteos. So he had no farming options, and his best bet was to try and get a summoner spell blown. Even though he takes a lot of damage, they do at least get some area to try and work off with. Nautilus now being a possible target, and Honey Fruit being found in the river means he healed back up.
And now bottom side, we're going in yet again. Cody Sun forced to flash away, stunt now the target as Vulcan starts things off, and Sven is there following up with the damage. Blabber already level 6, looking to make the tower dive come alive. The damage goes through, the health bars shrink down rapidly. Blabber having to flash away. Sven looking to get the kills. It's one down, but here comes the artillery.
okay, so Cloud9 basically put together a pretty good dive. I missed that. I was trying to respond to a tweet, but we can watch that again. So okay, so Vulcan gets a hook onto the enemy team, which is good. He forces a flash out of Cody Sun. Nocturne's down here already, and he has his ultimate. So this is why I disagree with what the broadcaster was saying earlier. Like, even though at some point in the game, like at some point in the game, yes, he could theoretically channel an ultimate and stop Nocturne from coming in, but it's a very difficult thing to do. Like, he didn't have his ultimate available to him at that point either. So another thing to take into consideration is like the amount of time that Cloud9 has to make a play with his ultimate before
In the
like
end, they did get both kills, so
before the answer is available.
barely pull
So like it wasn't even possible for them to do that, for him to like counter his ultimate yet.
Exhaust. 100 Thieves made it close and got a counter.
And hey, Blabber
So right now there's a big advantage in the bot lane,
said we wanted to see. As soon as he got
and
that
there's a
ultimate,
relatively big
it was
advantage in the
under 1
jungle.
minute before he
So
had
this
the
gives them
opportunity to fire it off and make a play.
priority over Dragon and control of the river. It gives them a lot of
Right, you can spell shield a dragon.
it gives them a big advantage.
Spell to give you more
So that was very easy. Now they're going to be able to collapse on the bot lane. So they have the tempo on this one.
Still no level 6. He's not able to find
Yeah, so Stunstead,
that cosmic radiance. He cannot bring in
Niski
the
is
Cloud9 now mounting the assault
able to
like
follow up
Cody's
relatively easy. He has long range.
destroys Cody's son. He's seen
So
videos
this game is over.
and that is a double kill over to Cloud9.
I know it's a little early, and there are opportunities for 100 Thieves to, you know, like come back in the game. But I think from this position, I think Cloud9 wins 80% of the time.
War machine still operational.
This is how they've created
during that dive.
their gold leads in most of their games this season, is by being aggressive in the early game. When other teams aren't willing to make that risky play, Cloud9's like, fuck it, we're good enough to make it happen. They're never afraid to go after the play, which is probably the biggest issue with most North American teams, is they play too passive and afraid.
On top of the first dragon going over to C9.
It's like how like if you're watching football and you know that the team isn't very good,
And it's not just
and
they're getting the kills, my friend.
instead of like
Where have the kills
just punting it on 4th down all the time, they just start going for it because they're like, we suck anyways. We might as well just go for it. Like I wish more teams from North America did that in League of Legends, because they're not good enough to play these like slow game styles.
Yeah,
Like they're not kidding anybody.
this is definitely looking very
They want
for Cloud9.
they want to be
wanna keep track
Korea,
of how they
basically, in how they play, like
because we're
macro
used to
oriented
seeing
and
them get these early
playing
leads like
safe.
you're talking about.
But
What's
I
so
don't think
cool
it makes
about
any
this
sense
is how
from a
they
game
have
theory
pushed
perspective
these leads
to try to play that way when you're not as good as a team that's playing that way. So you need to be able to create your own identity and like understand your win conditions and stuff like that. It just
ultimate. So my
there's
eye
definitely
is
better ways to
still
play.
looking for another play on bottom side, even though 100 Thieves both have the Callista ultimate and Taric. That is still an area that they can attack. The other possibility would be Ryoma in mid lane. That one's fairly difficult though because of the cleanse flash.
Yep. We also have to remember that if Meteos is able to properly read Blabber, because of the fact that they now both have ultis online, a counter gank will be that much more punishing.
So I'm setting up
the first
the
time Blabber used the ulti successfully in the bottom lane, he was level
sheet
6,
right now. I'm
level
gonna have some
5.
projections
You can see there now as he's
that we
taking
can
the
go
barrel
through.
once again, utilizing the fact that he's
We
at
have the
the
starting
bottom.
lineups already,
They do have some of their
so we can go through that.
attacks coded as spells, so he's able to use the spell shield there, block the charge, and can then grab that extra attack speed to continue to put the DPS
And then
grab that eyeball early on here. Niski showing up to help.
We
him,
have
making sure
money
that
line
quickly.
information.
Remember, it lasts 4 minutes, and for 3.5 of those,
D41.
deployment means turret plates and even bigger gold.
Possible tower dive, Captain Flowers. I see some pings on top lane. Some days under the turret currently. So they were thinking about it and possibly using the Rift Herald up there. But looks like they've decided to set full reset here for Blabber, get right back to base. And he's actually headed down bottom side right now. Now, a little bit of extra insight on some mechanics for the Nocturne into Sejuani. We haven't gotten to see it. I was hoping, you know, maybe Blabber on one of these invades would actually find Meteos, but one of the reasons it's so easy for Nocturne is you can just spell
Look up
shield
E2.
the second
Oh.
activation of Winter's Wrath on Sejuani, the W. That's where most of the damage is loaded. And if you block that, then Sejuani has zero chance of winning any fights. So that's why Blabber got to go for all his easy early invades in combination with, of course, Niski pushing them in lane.
Any champion that
And then
has
return,
a counter ability, like, you know, not
J.
just Spell Shield, Fiora's Repose, you just love champions
Look up
like Sejuani that have such an
E2
easily predictable ability that's so easy to block. It just
and
means that you win
E.
so hard in those matchups where you can block that with that ability. As we might see ourselves quite a fight here in the river. Meteos looking to start things off. Nice CC going to be layered there onto Cloud9 to begin this one. However, the disengage comes through as Paranoia is used to simply allow Cloud9 to back out. You don't
So they
always have to
basically
go
used the
in
defensive
when
ult right
things
there,
hit dark
which
and full of terrors.
Yeah, defensive Nocturne Ultimate
is pretty smart.
Viable strategy, and it's used right there. Rift Herald popped on the bottom side, and that's going to be more money in the hands
So we have
of Ben, as
Sign.
he's been able to take off those turret plates. First 2 of them by hand. Shelly comes in with the true damage. So efficient. Don't you just love it, Flowers?
Oh, it's the best way to use Shelly for those who aren't aware. You don't want to use her on the first couple of plays. Use them on the ones later on. And Licorice, he's once again winning in these 1v1s against Sunday. He's got a full-on Sunfire cape. Life goes from bad to worse for a champion that needs to build up plenty of
Yeah, so
damage.
6-1, 2.2, 22,000 gold to 19.3k gold. That's over the 2,000 gold threshold that we're looking for. It would be one thing if like the lineups were reversed. Like if Cloud9 was down by 2,000 gold or 2,500 gold, I wouldn't be afraid because they have access to Ornn items, and like I just trust Cloud9 more as a team. So right now Blabber's being pretty greedy by standing here like this. He has a chance of dying right there, but he trusts himself to not die, I guess. But they're giving up this dragon for free, so this is a mistake in my opinion. So basically, Cloud9 went for a solo home run instead of making a higher equity play. Like, since Cloud9 is in the lead, by taking the neutral objectives, they give themselves higher upside for later on in the game, because they don't need to get a kill in top lane. Like, a kill in top lane is going to give you a couple hundred gold. A dragon is going to give you value in terms of stats that your champions get, and then it's also going to give you it's also going to let you put a timer on the game where, like, when the 4th dragon happens, you can basically force the enemy team to fight you. And with the way that this game is going, that fight will be beneficial and advantageous for Cloud9 because they have a gold lead.
Even on Gangplank means ahead because of the fact that you get so much extra money from that parlay gold.
Yeah. The champion design team does take into account extra gold sources for when they're designing some champions. But Gangplank, with the Trinity Force now, finally has some semblance of a power spike for 100 Thieves. This is kind of the only thing that you can point out. The power spike is definitely one of the smaller ones, a blip on the radar, but it's there. You can see it.
It's not quite as big as the Sunfire Cape Ninja Tabby's Catalyst of Aeon Orange, but hey, it's there. It's there. It's
Try and hit your barrel chain on somebody else, a felly else, good target. Maybe you can find him.
Somebody at the barrel will do more than 10% of their
So right now the main things that we're taking a look at are the health of individual towers and the timers of like things that are on the map. So this dragon, this is a potential for a fight in 3 minutes. So like we really want Cloud9 to start pushing their advantage and forcing team fights around these objectives. And if 100 Thieves starts to just give them up, then it's going to be more and more difficult for them to win this game. The other thing that I would look at is the health of the tower. So bot tower is pretty low, and top tower is pretty low. So I would expect Cloud9 to make a play, like they're called ganks, where like you send numbers towards a side wave. So right now I would expect these guys right here to collapse down here. So this champion is going to push out this wave, and then they're going to dive the tower probably. Yeah, so if you see right now, Zoe's starting to move down, get some vision so that they understand where Sejuani is. They're going to clear out some wards and just play it relatively slow.
Cloud9 full control of anything outside of the towers from 100 Thieves, and that's changing shortly even too, as the domino effect is about to occur. When bottom goes down, it's very easy for C9 to swap their duo up to that top side. Licorice has already taken most of it himself, and that thing's going to fall pretty quickly afterwards.
And the comparison in items between the 80 carries, because of the fact that Sven has almost an extra 1,000 gold in his pocket from those kills, as Ryoma gets a nice taste of the Zoe combo there in mid lane, losing 2/3 of his HP. Blabber's going to be on Rift Herald number 2. As you can see, Licorice.
Yes, okay, so Cloud9 takes the first tower. That's worth probably a little bit over 1,000 gold. Now, right now, they're taking Rift Herald. That's going to help them push down mid lane. They also took top tower. So within a 2-minute period, Cloud9 increased their gold lead by a little over 2,000 gold in either realized gold lead or like potential gold lead. So right now, it's only 3,500, but in reality, it's larger than that because of the Rift Herald that they acquired as well, and the amount of pressure they're creating on the map is going to be easier for them to make plays that give them gold moving forward.
Very strong scaling carry on your team that rushes one of those items. So as soon as Licorice gets to level 14, he'll be able
Top
to hand that out
esports.
to Sven.
Got some interesting matchups tonight.
Here's Cody's son and Stunt moving up here to maybe make a move on this Sven.
Get him, everybody,
He
get
sees
him.
him on the control board. He's backing away. He pops. Oh, he walks out.
They got him for a second.
That was a good Goon Squad voice over there.
I mean, that's the squad on the blast code. All right, everybody, you see that, Felios? Get him, jump on it, quick.
Are they like
Rift Herald.
Skyrim bandits now?
Yeah, you never should have come here. Yep, they wait for the recall to go off. In the aftermath, though, they do pick up something meaningful, which is the second Rift Herald. So, 100 Thieves now. Wait, I'm not seeing it actually. What happened there? Did it?
It's summoned up in the
did it
mid
get
lane
summoned?
by.
No.
By
There we go.
Cloud9.
That,
Yeah.
it was the Scuttle Crab. It was the mini one.
There's
I'm
Well,
trolling.
here comes Shelly, the mid lane tier 1. Troll it or not, she's going to slam her head into that thing. Nearly take it down. But
So right now, Cloud9 isn't looking to force any objectives in terms of the towers because if they overcommit to mid lane, the tower's going to do damage that would otherwise not be available to 100 Thieves. So instead, they just go to the dragon, take the dragon for free,
That Scuttle Crab will become a Shelly
which
in
is
the future, though.
But it's
just
dead.
the right thing to do. Like, it's a little slower, but when you're in this position, you don't need to make risky plays yet.
You believe in that?
And that's what I was talking about earlier. So,
Reincarnation about
like,
Shelly? Hold on,
there's
Flabber's not gonna let Ioma
like when the announcer was saying, oh well, later on in the game, Nocturne's not going to be able to ult because they'll have a Taric, and it's like they're not looking to like 5v5 and have the Nocturne engage. The Nocturne is going to help peel with his ultimate by denying vision to the enemy team. He's going to be able to dive onto individual targets like after Taric ultimate is used for somebody else. Like there are just a lot of different ways that he can make good plays with his ultimate in team fights. So this is the kind of thing where the broadcasters like perspective of the champion is being informed too much by what happens in like amateur play and like solo queue. So solo queue is basically like a pickup game environment that League of Legends has that allows players to like play with random people around the country and kind of like test how good they are. And there's like a ranked ladder system, so people can build up their MMR and their elo, similar to like chess.
happy about that because at least now he has a better chance of getting the blue buff. Meteo's also going to show up along with Stunt to zone Licorice away. You can tell he really wanted to put up a fight for that one, but when 3 people show up to just stop you from getting a blue, you're not getting a blue.
All right, so here's what you want to do if you're Cloud9 trying to push this game ahead. Well, never mind. We'll see what happens to Ryoma as he's doomed.
You're right. Here is what you want to do if you're Cloud9 trying to push
See,
this game
like,
ahead. You pop the enemy mid
that's
lane,
just a
right?
pick.
His red
Like
buff.
that's not
You look to get away.
that's not a
Stopwatch coming through from Flabber. They're allowing him to dodge away from the Meteos.
it's not a big like it's not supposed to be a big team fight. So in this situation, he just waits until Taric has used his ultimate and then he goes in afterwards. That's exactly what we're talking about. It's very simple.
Yet another kill. He feints into the back line,
Yeah,
and
not sure
only
why.
enters when he knows he can clean things up. Cloud9
Not sure why he thought it was
playing the fight cleanly,
going to be a difficult
and
thing
we
to
see them
do.
move over on Farron now, just 21 minutes into the game.
And then this objective, they 100 Thieves really can't fight it because it's 5-on-3. So the only way that this goes bad is if 100 Thieves gets like a miracle Baron steal, which they don't get. So now this Baron is going to be worth a lot of gold because there are 4 towers for Cloud9 to take. So Cloud9 is much stronger than 100 Thieves already, and this buff is going to allow them to take the mid tower and then take at least another 1 tower. So that's another 2,000 gold advantage plus the gold that Baron gives you. So in terms of DraftKings scoring, at this point in the game, we know that Cloud9 is going to win the game. Now it's just a question of how much is Cloud9 going to win by. So if 100 Thieves continuously tries to defend objectives and towers and stuff like that, then we have a chance to get a lot more kills in this game. But it's more likely that they're going to start just giving away stuff because they're going to think that they can outscale, but they can't outscale. So they're in a horrible position. They're completely screwed. Just end the game. Like in the ranked environment, you're allowed to just forfeit. If this wasn't a pro match, the team would forfeit. Like I think that the professional teams are told you're not allowed to forfeit because like they have people spending a lot of money on advertisements and like they want to give the fans something to watch. But this game is over.
Very easily go south and cause you to lose your entire base, if not at least a couple inhibitors. As C9 has rotated into the top side, Blabber will continue pushing mid. The classic 4-1 Baron split, and there you go. T2 top lane sacrificed, more money for Cloud9.
Yeah, they were thinking about going for Blabber in mid lane, but it gets turned around on Meteos.
So again, another pick using Nocturne's ultimate and Zoe. It's a very good combination. I like once I started thinking about the draft from Cloud9, I just liked it more and more because there's a lot of long range abilities that Cloud9 can layer on top of one another. So Zoe is normally not a great champion for DraftKings scoring because she can do a lot of things on her own. But when you have somebody like Aphelios or Ornn or Nautilus or Nocturne, like all of them, they can all follow up on her abilities very well. So if you put somebody to sleep, they're going to be able to follow it up. A lot of teams just pick champions individually because of like the individual strength of champions without taking into consideration how they interact with one another, and that's when you can see a lot of problems for teams that aren't as good at drafting, or like they don't play around the champions that they pick. They have a game plan that they think they're supposed to adhere to, and they don't deviate from that depending on game conditions. So like this is a good play by 100 Thieves. They kind of have to go for something like this. It is risky, but the chances of you winning this game are already so low that wow, they lost that. Yeah, that's pretty sad. So that's a very good interaction for Cloud9 because normally teams are much more passive than that and wouldn't go for that kind of play, but it is the right play. So if you're familiar with like poker, there's the idea of like pot odds, like how much money do I have to risk to win something else? It's like, okay, well, the pot is worth $100 right now, and the person told me that I have to bet $10 for a chance to win the $100. So as long as my odds are like 10% or better, then I should probably call. Or at least it's easier to justify calling, because it's like your chances to win aren't that great, but the person's not charging you enough money to scare you off.
A series where they can make adjustments, and already in this game, they're thinking about what adjustments they can make moving forward.
Yeah, so that is a good point that they're making right now. Basically, if you're a professional team in this situation, what you're supposed to do is start considering, like, what did we do wrong here? What can we do differently next time? So that you're not just, like, in this game twiddling your fingers, waiting for it to end.
If it was actually on cooldown and 100 Thieves were just trying to rush that dragon regardless, it is going to mean that C9 do even have a fallback pattern of the dragon.
Hey, what's up, Zoe? I have not been streaming all day. I streamed a little bit last night, and then I passed out. I was pretty pissed off about China because like I had some lineups that had a chance at winning, but they just didn't get there at the end of it. And then like at the end of the Hanwha Life game, the fact that they 2-0'd it actually cost me a couple $100 because the game's not played bonuses. And then the last match, the European match, I was mentioning that the other day. The European casters are like so bad, it's insane. Like they just try to make stupid jokes, and like it's just annoying to listen to. Like they're not funny enough to justify how they act. Like Freak is he's a North American caster. He is funny in like a dad kind of way, and it fits well with like how he broadcasts games. But those guys from Europe are just so annoying. Like Medic, the guy Medic, he's normally during the regular season, he's somebody that I like listening to because he's a little more serious and intelligent than other people that are on the draft on the broadcast for Europe. But he's been really conceited and like rude to the other casters for the past couple of weeks since coronavirus. So this is actually pretty unlucky for Cloud9 owners. This game could have been could have had a lot more kills. So I would consider this a very unlucky outcome. They scored really well for DraftKings compared to most other games, but if you just think about what they could have done in this game environment, they had the opportunity for a lot more kills.
American LCS this split have looked like a team of complete Smurfs. 5 members.
How many lineups did you have out last night, Zoe, or today? Are you playing in the DraftKings contest today?
Only 3 members on Cloud9 died at all, and they all died only a single time. The best score on 100 Thieves was 2-4-1. That is how absolutely dominating that win from Cloud9 was here in the first game. And as you said, though, this is a series, right? This isn't just best of one. Oh, darn, we lost our day's over. 100 Thieves are going to need to make some changes here. This is a team that we saw a much better second half of the split from compared to their first half of the split. I want to see if they can figure out exactly what needs to be changed here and try to find where to attack this Cloud9 armor, because right now it appears to have no weaknesses.
Exactly, and this is one of the things we talked about off of.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I think that there's definitely a need for something like this because, like, there's a huge number of people. Like, a lot of people enjoy what they put out there for North America and for Europe because they're looking more for the entertainment side of things. But there are so many, like, bettors out there and people who are, like, either gambling or playing DraftKings or whatever. They don't understand why they don't understand the jokes that these people are making, and they're just stupid jokes, and it's just annoying. So let me know if you have any other questions, or like if you want to talk about your own lineups or something like that. And then Zoe, all right, you said you took a nap and missed getting into anything. That's funny. Got a lot going on FanDuel though. Okay, so what teams do you have exposure to right now? Is like Cloud9 your favorite? Like, I didn't play this slate because I didn't have a great feeling about the first set. Like, I figured Cloud9. Well, so the way that my decision making for lineup building last night, if I played this playoff slate, would have been how do I get Cloud9 into my lineups, and like just do combinations of Cloud9 plus the other series, because this series was never going to be a good series in my opinion. Obviously, 100 Thieves can still make it more competitive, but like, I don't want to overexpose myself to 100 Thieves when I don't think they're going to win. Alright, so we've got the starting lineups for China. I'm going to continue updating all my stuff so that we can talk about this during one of the next breaks. So Top Esports, 369, Karsa, Knight, Fodic, and I don't know if it's QQ or Kui, but basically Top Esports tonight, they're an 87% favorite over Rogue Warriors, which I think that's probably too high. So this is actually interesting. I haven't really thought about it like this before, but the Vegas percentage for a team is not equal to the percent chance of them being a good play on DraftKings. So even though it says 87% chance to win, the chances of them being a good DFS team is probably only like 3/4 of that. And then it'd be the opposite for Rogue Warriors. So Rogue Warriors only has a chance of winning this series 20% of the time, but all they need to do is play 2 close matches, and they would justify being in your lineup. So in that situation, you would want to have exposure to Rogue Warriors players and not their team, because you want to have the upside from team, support, and top laner. So if you pick a support that goes 1 and 2 on a specific slate, they will most likely not make value for that slate. So let's see, Rogue Warriors. They're playing Crazy instead of Holder. I think Crazy's better than Holder, so I like that decision. It kind of changes their how they can play around the map. So when Holder is in there, I think that the advantage is for top esports in the top lane. But with Rogue Warriors playing Crazy can kind of carry a match. Not often, because he has a lot to overcome. The other team is better than his. And then for OMG, we have Curse, Tacker, Icon, SMLZ, and Cold. This is their normal roster, I think, and they're a pretty good team. I'm surprised that VG Gaming is considered the favorite, but they have been playing well recently. They had an upset, I think, in one of their last matches. And Coma is one of the best coaches in the world. And then Sunning, they're starting Bin tonight instead of Bew. Otherwise, it's their normal starting lineup. They are 87% favorites over Victory 5. Victory 5 is a team that I have had exposure to every single night that they're available, because I think eventually they're going to get a win. And like I said a few minutes ago, they don't have to necessarily win.
All teams across all games this split, Blabber's jungle proximity in this game was the 4th lowest that we had. So really farming focused on this Nocturne.
And he hit level 6 at about 6 minutes and 15 seconds on one of his Raptor clears, and then immediately went down bottom to dive, which gave a double kill to Sven.
Zoe said, on FanDuel, I went with a 4-2-1 stack, 4 Cloud9, 2 Rogue, and 1 from Misfits. Cloud9 stack, Blabber, Sven, Vulcan, and Cloud9.
400 Thieves, where when you draft the Callista Terra,
okay,
you're hoping you can get an early lead on that Callista, so you can start kind of
Blabber.
later team fights. And they just never let.
Yeah, Blabber's the jungler, so it's good that you picked Blabber.
Really just a masterful game from C9.
Do you mean that you had him as your captain?
Yeah, Mark, let's talk about that.
Because that would be a pretty good play too.
100 Thieves actually decided to take an aggressive pick.
Blabber gets a lot more fantasy points than most junglers because of because of the style of his team. So if you look at China compared to Cloud9, Cloud9's jungler scores more points, a higher percentage of his team's points, because he's creating even more pressure on the map and fighting more in the beginning of the game than a lot of other Chinese teams. And he's taking kills more often than a lot of other players. So if you look at I think Junjia from EDG had a huge game on Elise last night. That's kind of what Blabber can do. So Blabber's a good player. And then Ryan said he has a 4-3 stack, 4 Rogue, 3 C9, Sven captain with Niski, and C9 team. Okay, so I think that's an interesting way to stack it. I didn't watch the first series. It went 3-1, right? So you got 1 game not played bonus. In a 2-game slate like this, you really want to maximize the number of games not played you get. So I probably would have went with 4 Cloud9 players and then 3 from Rogue. But you've given yourself the upside of being different. So I respect that. I think it's a viable way to build. I'm sure you have a lot of... I guess maybe you don't even have as many uniques as other people.
That thinks like it's going to win on its own, and then they have a slow jungler. So you're thinking, how are they going to pull this off? As Mark said, the answer is by just being C9.
Yeah.
So,
I do think their draft is really strong, though, because you took the Nautilus against Callista, so at least in the team fight you can lock her down. And Zoe Nocturne at least has a lot of power against someone like a Syndra, mobile in the mid lane.
And that doesn't make it a bad draft. It just means this is for a team that's going to nap lanes, because you can let your jungler invest in himself a little bit more.
Right, it's an added benefit of being as good as Cloud9 is that they can reach and pull out some of the picks like this. But while we talk about, Jat, in a vacuum, that 100 Thieves composition looking really good, now let's just put 100 Thieves, you know, the name, back on top of that draft. And is it the kind of draft that you want to see out of 100 Thieves? And let's use the context of Game 2 looking forward, where they've actually selected blue side. You know, is that the kind of play, do we want to see Kalista play through bot lane and someday on a scaling champ?
I wouldn't hate it. I think they're going to be happier if they can get someday on Aatrox again, which is his most played for the split, which does have a little bit more potential for solo kills rather than... You definitely don't want to see him getting solo killed, Ornn versus GP. I don't think that's a drafting problem. But looking at just the very top of the draft from this game 1, where we saw Xayah, Varus, and Senna all banned to set up a first pick of Felios, that's 100 Thieves will actually
Basically,
want to do,
like if we go back into the draft,
best champ.
Of course, are
so when you're in this position right now, Cloud9 has already picked a Felios. So what they're telling you is we're going to have an immobile AD carry. We're going to have a pocket passer. And 100 Thieves needs to see that and pick a team that can just go straight for him. Instead, they go for Syndra, which is not going to be able to get to a Felios. They pick Kalista, which is not going to be able to get to a Felios, and they give up Ornn. So 100 Thieves should have taken Ornn like right away. Just a stupid mistake.
Try and stack up your defenses.
So like they could have done something like on Ornn Nautilus or Ornn Sejuani or Ornn Jarvan. There's like a million different champions that they could have picked.
To push the Kalista out of lane or stop the Kalista from gaining that pressure from farming. Of course, Ornn's obvious goal is to scale.
And scale he does. Turns out when you give your buddies a whole bunch of freebies, upgrade them from the Walmart value version of the item to the super mega Louis Vuitton Gucci version, it makes all your characters really, really strong. It sort of just gives you free 5,000 gold. That's pretty insane. And along
So you're
with
saying it's all about branding for the
yeah,
item.
it's all about brand power with Ornn. He slaps his name on there, and all of a sudden, everybody wants to throw $600 at a $20 item. Now, they're also going to have some more CC in frontline in the form of the Nautilus. We've seen this champion be very powerful, especially when paired with something like an Aphelios. But the response from 100 Thieves, they're going to give Kalista her tried and true diamond bowling ball in the Terran.
And this is one of the reasons why Kalista has risen to the very top of priority across the world with multiple leagues, because you can swap her down to the bottom side. She's also an extremely strong bottom laner, not just a top side.
Yeah, so this was another mistake because Taric cannot get to a Felios. So 3/5 of their team is not able to get to a Felios. And then they pick up Sejuani, which can get onto a Felios, and then Gangplank can use his ultimate on a Felios, but he can't like stand on top of him and try to kill him. Just a stupid draft.
But we have plenty of runway to go for both of our teams here to make moves in this best of 5. We're going to step away when we return. We've got game 2 of Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves. We'll see you here for Champion Select after this.
So Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app Driving Safe. You want to go? You want to go, bro? Hey, do not mess with my discount. You can save up to 30%. Let's go! Nice to meet you. Go get him, Tiger.
Sounds like you've got this.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save from State Farm.
Money line, injection G2 times.
Yo, hi. Hi. Michael. Michael.
What?
Me and Brian want to play cornhole. Is you with me? I know it's a...
Welcome back here for game number 2 of best of 5 between Cloud9 and 100 Thieves. Now, if you're a Cloud9 fan, game 1 really couldn't have gone much better, and if you're a 100 Thieves fan, game 1 really couldn't, well, have gone much worse.
Yeah, definitely some adjustments we're hoping to see for 100 Thieves. I personally think something along the jungle lines. I'm a big fan of Meteos Olaf, and that is a champion that will not get bullied around anywhere, and you get to be the one going for early invades even. You can go for level 1 invades. I think those are the sorts of things in a best of 5 series that you have to pull out to try and put a #1 team like Cloud9 off of their game.
Yeah, something's definitely got to be changed up. You can't just go by the book here, because right now, Cloud9 are the ones who have authored the book here in North America in 2020 up to this.
They own the bookstore, Flowers.
Yeah, they're the ones. They even have the dedication in the front of the book. So, to my dearest inspiration, Cloud9, this one's for you. The author wrote it that way. This is their book. And we'll see if 100 Thieves play by it here going into this next game. Once again, Gragas banned away. Blabber has a ton of plays on it so far. They're split. They don't want him to be on it here again. Senna's also going to be banned out by 100 Thieves. Set and Callista banned away by Cloud9. Cody will not be on the Callista back-to-back games.
Aphelios, are they going to leave it up for him? Last ban here for C9. Could be playing with fire if they give that champion over. It has been one of the keys to victory for 100 Thieves.
All right, Cloud9, what you got for me, buddy? Let's see what you can do here. Final ban.
Aphelios, give me Aphelios behind door
Aphelios?
number 3. Boom!
Nope.
Oh, they're giving it to him.
Still available here for the first pick to let Cody's son have some fun, but
See, I think that the reason why
this is a very high value
Cloud9 was
however,
willing to give away Aphelios is because they have a plan for how to beat Aphelios. It looked like 100 Thieves had no plan to beat Aphelios.
Seeing the Syndra be a difference maker
last
in
game.
the same way. It certainly was not last game.
Hey Joel,
Syndra's also
yeah, I'm gonna break down the slate tonight. I'm working on my sheet right now. I went through the rosters a little earlier, but I'm gonna do that again. So I'm gonna go through the rosters. I'm basically gonna go through my sheet. So I have the roster information, I have the Vegas information, I have the salary information, And then I have that like the matrix that shows the combinations of teams, like what the percent chance of all the players on the team is winning is. And then I'm gonna start updating my sheet so that we could take a look at everything later on, like probably during the next break after the next game. Okay, so 100 Thieves, they took Syndra. It's so funny. So they pick Syndra, they give up Ornn and Aphelios. So I already think that Cloud9 won this draft. So Trundle is better than Sejuani in getting onto Aphelios because he's going to be able to use his pillar to slow him down significantly. And then Aatrox is a kind of champion that can dive onto Aphelios. So what Cloud9 needs to do is to pick some disengaged champions to make sure that even though the enemy team is right on top of their most important champion, that they'll be able to either like kick them away or protect him. So right now, and that's what I would consider like quote-unquote linemen. So right now, their offensive line is basically Ornn, who can help engage or help disengage, depending on his proximity to Aphelios in a fight, and like the game state. So if Cloud9 is up by a lot and thinks that they can get a pick, they'll use Ornn's ult offensively, but at the same time they could use it defensively if they need to. And then Cloud9's last pick is Kindred. So Kindred is basically it's similar to an AD carry in terms of playstyle in the early and mid game. And there's like a little mini game that goes on where Kindred has to run around the map and try to kill specific objectives to get buffs. Like she's going to get more advantages than other players are in the early and mid game. And this tells me that they're going to be very aggressive in terms of moving around the map. So I would expect Cloud9 to pick a mid laner that can roam and a support that could roam with Kindred to help support them.
To allow for a more aggressive style from Cloud9 because they know that Sven can be protected by the Lamb's respite.
So I think Zoe's a great pick. Again, like last game, they got Ornn, Aphelios, and Zoe, which they're all going to be able to help Zoe a little bit by either shoving out their lanes or by using their long-range abilities to support Kindred from far away. I think one thing to take into consideration from a drafting perspective is that I think 100 Thieves made a pretty big mistake in picking... Wow, okay, they went for Kog'Maw. So Kog'Maw is a very late-game champion, and I don't think it really fits very well with what the rest of their team is trying to do.
Interesting answer because Kog'Maw with the W active, you get extreme range.
This is basically them doubling down on playing late game. I think, okay, so Braum is a very good pick because it's going to be able to deal with some of the long-range abilities from Cloud9. I think a better choice would have been Tahm Kench because he could, like, just... it's called eating. He would eat Kog'Maw and be able to protect him for a little bit if, like, he got put to sleep by Zoe or something like that. So Cloud9 picks up Bard. Bard is a good champion because he can kind of help you long range engage and disengage with his ultimate. He also has a lot of good stuns and he can roam very well. So I think that Bard is the perfect kind of champion to play with Kindred because he's going to be able... First of all, Bard wants to move around the map to pick up his chimes and stuff like that. And not only is he going to be able to do that, but he can also support Kindred. So I would expect Kindred to continuously pressure Trundle in his jungle, specifically on the bot side of the map. And then as Cloud9 puts pressure around the map, their bot lane is going to be able to swing between top and bottom and push different objectives. So, yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, the better the Cloud9 draft is. So, again, I would say game 2... So that was a shockingly bad draft by 100 Thieves. I don't think that there's any consistency with how they're making their decisions, which speaks to like a lack of a process at an organizational level. They don't have, apparently, they do not have an identity. They don't have a specific part of the game where they think that they're better than Cloud9, so they're kind of doing a mishmash of different champions and just trying to fight. It just doesn't make any sense. So they anticipated this. They set this up probably from looking at video reviews of 100 Thieves. So this is a pretty common tactic that blue side teams use because the jungler will often start on his blue side. So this is considered the red side, and then down here is the blue side for your own team, and then this is the blue side of the map, and this is the red side of the map. So this is the red buff, blue buff, red buff, blue buff.
And it's going to be really hard. Like I was talking about in Champion Select for
yeah.
Trundle.
So then if we take a look at what side of each matchup is going to be more aggressive, Aatrox theoretically is going to be able to press an advantage against Ornn. I think that that's not good. Obviously, in the bot lane, the advantage goes to Cloud9 in terms of which side is stronger. Kindred's already invading the Trundle like I said he would because they know that if Trundle shows up and tries to fight Kindred, then Bard can just kill him.
Blabber is so fun to watch.
So that's a great start to the game for Cloud9. They already forced Cody Sun to use his heal. They denied an invade, and they're just pressuring already. So going into this matchup, I didn't really talk about the individual lane matchups for the teams, but Ryoma, he was very bad for most of the season, and then at the end of the season he started performing a little bit better because of the teams that they were playing against weren't very strong. And at the same time, like he was having good DraftKings performances, so I think the reason why he was having good DraftKings performances is more about the teams that he was playing against than his own ability. Like, anybody can score a lot of points in League of Legends. That's not an indication of skill. An indication of skill is being able to create a winning difference for your team, in my opinion. So yeah, Licorice is not in danger at this point. His wave is pushing away from him, which is a negative. Kindred's able to pick up this mark. So if you look down at this map, I guess I'll back it up a little bit. So if you see this mark right here, that's what I was talking about in pick ban phase, where Kindred has like an additional mini game that she's on. So she's going to every time that one of these things spawns on the map, she's going to run to that location and kill a neutral minion, and it gives her like buffs to her champion. So after she gets a certain number of marks, I think she gets an attack range increase, which is very beneficial. So we're 4 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, and Cloud9 already has a 500 gold lead based off of just CS alone, plus the additional value that Kindred has gotten from her marks, plus a turret plate, and they burned 3 summoners bot lane for Kog'Maw Braum. So this is like these are already some bad signs for bad signs for 100 Thieves.
Blabber now can reverse clear back up to top side, and he's already got his skirmishing saber as well. Really just makes it very easy for him to
So Someday is supposed to have the advantage in this matchup. He hasn't backed yet, so he's going to back and then walk back to lane. Cloud9 can freeze this. So basically what they're doing is they're going to have Blabber up here so that when Someday teleports back to his lane, they can gank him.
see if he gets punished on the way out though.
So they're going to wait. So okay, this is perfect. That's a very smart play.
Takes the blast cone and just blinds himself right into Someday.
So the reason that didn't work out is because Ornn wasn't ready to kind of help that play. And I think Someday actually probably could have killed him there. So Cloud9, it was a good idea, but they were a little impatient and just went for the play instantly instead of waiting, which they should have. Yeah, so this is why I don't like this matchup for Syndra, because Niski is a better player than Ryoma, and it's not it's not a it's not a counter pick by any means. It's a skill matchup, and why would you pick a skill matchup when you're the worst player? It just doesn't make any sense. So Someday went in pretty greedy, gives up first blood. I'm not sure why he did that. He didn't have any support from his teammates. So then if you look down here, this mark appeared. So if 100 Thieves was paying attention, they would send all 3 players to kill that, because it would increase the amount of time that it takes Kindred to get that. So it looks like he's going to take it.
Made the call since, okay, Blabber's topside getting the mark, I'll take Dragon. And you see right now, 100 Thieves have gotten the Dragon, but Someday's so deep in the weak side of the map. This is the weak side. Their whole team for 100 Thieves is on Dragon, taking the objective. And Someday is going to trade flashes with Blabber, but this is the weak side. There's 3 members of Cloud9 here. They clean up the first blood kill.
Okay, and I didn't actually realize that before, that 100 Thieves got the Dragon.
Yeah, I have heard.
That's pretty good for them. So they're going to need to fight over every single dragon. Like, that's the kind of thing that 100 Thieves could do that differentiates themselves from Cloud9. Like, Cloud9 they're definitely capable of playing around dragons, but that's not their preferred playstyle. So if 100 Thieves basically drafted a team that could force a fight around every single dragon, I think that'd be pretty intelligent. Okay, so now they're just going to 4-man dive down here. This is the problem with picking something like Kog'Maw, especially on blue side. You're just so vulnerable to ganks, and we see this in every single league in the world right now. One of the things that red side teams do is 4-man gank bot, like at the 4-minute mark, 5-minute mark, and it's because of this. So right around 8 minutes, this is called Rift Herald. The Rift Herald spawns on the map, and it's a neutral objective that's going to help you take a tower. So the blue side team, which is 100 Thieves in this situation, typically goes after this and will use it top lane to try to kill top tower. And bot C9, which is red side, will do a 4-man gank in the bot lane and then just kill the tower without Rift Herald. So right now, if you take a look at the turret plates, Cloud9 already has a 3 turret plate advantage, and will be able to take that tower relatively easily. One thing to think about when you're looking at stuff like that is in like the RNG versus Invictus matchup last night, they made this decision, this play, every single game. So Invictus Gaming, which is another very good team, is playing the same way that Cloud9 is playing, basically. Like where they're making a trade. They're saying, we don't really care about first dragon. We're going to try to create a gold lead across the map. And then they're saying, we don't care about Rift Herald. We can take that tower without Rift Herald. So 100 Thieves is starting to look a little desperate. They have 4 people on this side of the map. Their AD carry is in top right now. So they're not going to be able to respond to this. It's going to be a 5-on-4 in the bot lane. But I think even though it's a 5-on-4, there's not anything they can really force. They didn't really lose much from that, though, besides turret plates top. So actually, Aphelios is just expanding his lead right now. So he took 4 more wow. He took 4 more turret plates. So far in this game, Cloud9 has taken 6 turret plates. Sven has gotten all of them.
So they're going to go for the numbers advantage, overload bottom part of the map with an extra.
It looks like Cloud9 is going to try to fight over this next dragon and take bot tower. So what they can do is send Sven back bot lane, push in that wave, take the tower, and back off on dragon. And there's nothing that 100 Thieves can really do to defend this. So since they know that they can't really fight dragon, they're going to go after top tower with Rift Herald. But they're giving up a lot in order to do that. Like, they're going to lose this tower. They're going to lose top tower. They're going to lose dragon. Bad situation for 100 Thieves. So in this spot right here, Sven should not be anywhere near this tower. This is a very risky play.
Cloud9 will continue finding their opportunities to punish their opponents here on the top side, or is it going to be Sven who's caught out? He's almost taken down, but Cody instead, the one under pressure. Vulcan managing to find the stasis there with the
Okay, so that was pretty bad.
Damage, and now we'll see if C9 can get themselves away.
I think that Cody's son went way too far to try to get a kill onto Sven. It's tough because they're in a losing spot, and like I said before with pot odds, I think about that a lot when I'm like playing League of Legends or coaching League of Legends or explaining it to people, because oh wow, that's a
2-for-1 deal.
see, like that looks really good. That's not that difficult of a play, but okay, this game's over. So in that situation, 100 Thieves overextended top lane trying to get a kill onto Sven, which they kind of were obligated to do it.
Let's take a look at how this actually unfolded, because Cody's son goes for that flash there. They try and finish off Sven.
So instead of them just trying to like shove down the tower and taking a smaller advantage, or like trying to trade back a little objective, they went for a higher upside play of getting a bunch of kills, and that failed miserably. Obviously.
Member to this, you know how it turns out. As Niski,
Uh-oh.
He actually likes the deals
Uh-oh.
that he's seeing on Summoner's Rift today.
Cody's son just lost.
This Kog'Maw pick was horrible. This was just out of control. I cannot believe that they did something like that in this game. There's no reason to pick Kog'Maw. Their team was not set up to take advantage of this.
Throw another one in the cart.
The entirety of 100 Thieves. You know what this is? Did you ever watch a show?
I wonder who their coach is. This was pretty pathetic.
Where a kid would enter into a sweepstakes and they got to run through a toy.
Oh yeah.
Just throw everything they wanted into the shopping cart.
Zix. Wow. I wouldn't expect Zix to do something like this. Zix traditionally is a better player, or a better coach than that. I think this was a huge mistake.
And the producers of the Nickelodeon show forgot to start the timer, so it's continued from all last game to this game. Niski's still throwing stuff in. He's got, I found another one here. 6-0 on the Zoe, by the way. Stopwatch in inventory. So this is probably a.
So this game, basically, we're thinking about it the same as last game, where it's like we just want Cloud9 to get as many kills as possible. There's no chance that Cloud9 loses. So we would prefer Cloud9 to like take this relatively slow, go for picks, and then just let 100 Thieves like continuously die trying to make plays.
On the Zoe plus stopwatch is probably the combination of Captain Flower's most frustrating things in the game.
Oh yeah, dude! If I was on 100 Thieves, I would have nexted this 10 minutes ago. This one's hard to play.
You need to have strong mental in these cases. 100 Thieves, they've got a series on their hands here. One game's gone to Cloud9. They're significantly behind.
Like this is the crazy thing about League of Legends, is you have so many people who can just look at that draft and know that 100 Thieves is going to lose the game. Like,
they can think about the second one, but
I don't understand any of the decision making from that draft. I think that's like a systemic problem, which makes me feel very like less confident that they're able to do something like come back in this series.
What are you, a lawyer, Flowers?
I'm just saying, there's only one slot in that inventory that's empty. Yes, 4 slots are filled with garbage, and the last one is filled with a boot, which has to be there for every champion but Cassiopeia. But I'm just saying.
Go for it.
Let's see if Cloud9 gets punished here. 100 Thieves, they're collapsing. This may be their only opportunity to make a move. Vulcan buys a little bit of time there, keeping Stunt and Cody's son wrapped up in the ulti.
Okay, so nothing happened there. That's the kind of thing where if you're watching for DraftKings reasons, that's kind of depressing, because that easily could have turned into a bunch of kills for Cloud9. But 100 Thieves set up for this play and then basically bitched out. So they're going to take another tower here.
They're not going to stop there. And Cody's son on your minimap, you can see him still top lane. He's far.
So now they're trying to trade objectives, which I think is the right play, because even if Kog'Maw is here, they're not stopping this from Cloud9. They can probably get this tower. and then they're just going to take the inhibitor. That's a 16-minute inhibitor. That's pathetic. Like, I don't mind the decision making because I think that like that individual decision isn't a problem because 100 Thieves is in a bad spot and they need to make some like low percentage plays in order to try to come back in the game. But getting to this point in the game means that you made a ton of mistakes. So that's what I mean when I say it's pathetic.
Then they're going to take the dragon. They're going to get Mountain Dragon.
There's no way that 100 Thieves can fight this.
Once they have purchased, then they can just push on bottom side of the map, take that secondary turret because, oh, Captain Flowers, they have a...
Like, this is why 100 Thieves needs to pick Ornn. Even if you need to put Ornn mid lane or as a support or something, just get that additional upside from items into your onto your team.
Is only bad if your opponents can defend it. If they can defend and keep you from taking more off the map, then that is a sustainable, path to comeback. But if Cloud9 remain taking down secondary turrets, there are still 2 of them outside of inhibitor turrets for Cloud9 to take, then they can just keep up that pressure. Plus, there's always the added bonus, inhibitor's not even down yet. If they want to, they can go straight towards the exposed inhibitor.
Yeah, so that's a 10,000 gold lead at 17.5 minutes. This is basically like a solo queue match. What do I think about V5 tonight? I always have exposure to V5. I don't think that let me just make sure I have the numbers correct. Okay, so it's Sunning versus Victory 5. Sunning is a team that typically gets a lot of kills, and Victory 5 is a team that gives up a lot of kills. Did they pause this game? So Victory for V5, I will have exposure to V5. My favorite play from V5 is CLX in the support position because he's actually a mid laner. So that'll give you additional salary savings. That's probably the first person that I want to get exposure to, and then I would consider stacking Xiaohan, CLX, and Y4. Because basically you could do a 4-man stack from a big favorite and then have those 3 as your salary savings, or you could take combinations of 2 of those players and then rotate around like 5 favorites, and that way you get higher win equity. Like if all 3 favorites on this slate, if all 3 favorites win and Victory 5 is the highest scoring underdog, then you could still have an 80 carry or a mid laner as your captain. But if the 3 favorites win and none of the underdogs perform well, then it's going to be a slate where a jungler, top laner, or support is the captain. So you probably want to have exposure to the different kinds of outcomes. Okay, game is paused. That sucks. Hopefully there's no issue with the actual game, because Cloud9 was in an extremely winning position. So maybe 100 Thieves is trying to steal this game by making them restart it. But yeah, so for V5, in order for V5 to win... Okay, let me rephrase that. In order for V5 to be worth rostering, they need to win 1 matchup out of the 3, which I think they're definitely capable of doing. And then that would allow me to justify getting exposure to 1, 2, or even 3 players from V5. In order for them to be a 4-man stack, they need to win at least 1 game and be very competitive in terms of kills in another game. So I think that it's somewhat unlikely that that happens, but it has tournament winning upside. The problem is that on a 3-game slate, I think a lot of people are going to have exposure to V5, so you're not necessarily going to be as contrarian as you would be otherwise. So I would prefer if this was a 6-game slate, and I would still get exposure to V5. It is going to give you the potential to differentiate your lineups, or maybe you do like a game stack situation where you have like Huan Feng as your captain, and then you get S of M and Angel in your lineup, you grab Sword Art, and then you get like V5, or you do like a four person stack from Sunning, and then you get CLX as your support because he's really a mid laner, and then you can get 2 more players from V5, I guess. Yeah, you can get 2 more players from V5, and then you'd have to find a team that can fit in with that. So then you would need OMG to beat VG Gaming, which is possible but unlikely. So this is actually insane. The fact that it's 9-2, 18 minutes and 50 seconds into the match, 2 inhibitors are gone. This is basically 100 Thieves saying we give up. This is a 0% chance for 100 Thieves to win this game. So if you can find a sportsbook out there that has odds on this game still, I would bet any amount of money that Cloud9 wins this game.
They couldn't even go to Baron right now if they wanted to after the reset. Cloud9 have to wait around for another 30 seconds after they reset and head back out to the Baron. Hashtag item for Cody has worked out though. He's got his single item.
You're trying to start a Twitter trend to buy Kog'Maw. Are you going to start a GoFundMe for Kog'Maw's?
That's the strat. Number 3 for 100 Thieves. They need to start the GoFundMe early so that they can have the.
That's pretty pathetic.
But anyways, Cody Sun was pushing that bottom tower.
So another way that you can try to get exposure to V5
into their base that resulted in
is with
being destroyed. That is again their lone hope though, right? They've got this cog, but they need him to
a VG Gaming stack.
Some form of DPS to have any hopes.
And you'd probably want to get some top esports players in there too. So let's do top esports. You get Photic. Oh, they actually have Jackie Love on the roster now too. But he's not playing tonight. Then you go V5. So I think that V5 is going to be like relatively popular tonight. Because they have the upside of getting a lot of kills.
The ability to prevent those minions from dealing a lot of damage is severely limited when you only have a Luden's Echo on your mid laner, when you only have a Blade of Ruined King on your AD carry. It is going to take a while to just get rid of all those massive minions coming into the base. And C9 will move towards that Baron exactly as you expect.
Yep, you know, it's a death sentence even walking through this jungle. Niski's on patrol, 6 kill Zoe here, looking for anybody who's going to poke their heads out, and the Baron will be picked up for C9, so they should be able to march ahead, and we can go back to talking about, you know, where's the area of attack going to be for 100 Thieves in this series, because like you're saying, everyone kind of expects Cloud9 to be this dominant, to destroy the same LCS teams that they've been destroying for the entire season. So I don't think 100 Thieves should get too down on themselves and still need to keep their mentality kind of above water.
Cloud9, all they need to do is put the final nails in the coffin here. I would say nearly 12,000 gold plus a Baron buff should be enough to do it at 22 minutes into the game. They're pushing up as a 5-man unit towards this remaining tier 3 turret. With the next Baron wave arriving now, they should have the opportunity to continue the auto attacks. Tempered Fate comes out. Cody Sun going to be caught up in that one. Redemption coming down now here as well, and the turret is gone. Remaining inhibitor is the next target, and there comes your Ophelio Salty. There comes the follow-up CC plus the damage. Blabber on the front line having to drop down the Lamb's Respite. He'll stay alive through that one, and 100 Thieves are going to be baited into taking the fight. It's a 1-for-1 so far. That's the best the Thieves have gotten so far in this game, but they're all so low they have to go back to the fountain and try to recover. In the meantime, the Nexus turrets are being deleted. The first is down, the second is down, and Meteos and Cody Sun are taking a hell of a lot of damage. 100 Thieves will be mopped up here at the very end just to pad the Cloud9 stats a little bit harder. A double kill for Licorice and a second win in this series for Cloud9, even more convincing than the first.
Yeah, if you're not convinced that Cloud9 should be the #1 team in the LCS by now, then
if you're not convinced now,
there's no talking to you.
Yeah, there's nothing to really be said if you're not convinced at this point. This team is putting on one hell of a show here so far, And there are so many things that have to be fixed for 100 Thieves. I'm going to start off by saying if I see Syndra traded for Aphelios in the first part of the draft again, I'm going to consider that an int draft. It's not working. It has not come close to working. Niski has shown that if you pick the Syndra and allow him to play the Zoe, he will stop it. And Sven on Aphelios, on this champion that is just so powerful right now in the game, is showing that there's not really an answer to him either. That's got to change. I'm smacking my hand on the table and I'm saying this has to be different.
Fair enough. I agree. If we want this series to continue, then it's going to have to change courses. But, again, that is a very difficult task for any of the teams in the LCS, trying to deter Cloud9, trying to change that course.
Well, we're going to take a break here now. That's enough from us here after that very, very powerful second game performance from Cloud9. Once we're back, Dash and the analyst will look at Cloud9's shellacking of a game 2. Don't you touch that browser.
Josh, you going for our Drive Safe and Save discount?
Yep, using the app, driving safe. You wanna go, bro? Do not mess with my discount.
Get a discount up to 30% with Drive Safe and Save.
Caught early, it might be extinguished with limited damage. If allowed to smolder, undetected, it can grow to an inferno that spreads quickly beyond our ability to control it. But if we wait for a pandemic to appear, it will be too late to prepare.
Welcome back.
And one day, many lives could be needlessly lost because we failed to act today.
President George W. Bush nearly 15 years ago.
I just need initial reactions and maybe some help understanding what I just.
Okay, so let me break it down to you. Teams are in different tiers, and when they practice with different tiers of teams. What we just saw is a scrim between teams of the upper echelons and the not upper echelons be broadcast for all of us to see. And this
Right, but Crumbs, that's our 1 seed. That's our 1 seed versus 3 seed. You telling me that the 3 seed isn't even in the upper echelon?
That's right. The upper echelon this year, there is only one person in the upper echelon this year, and it's Cloud9. I mean, they're looking to shorten the game time with every single game. I, for one, don't mind it, because showing that you can stomp somebody is a very good display of strength. Not just going
Jad, look at, I know you like numbers. Look at these numbers. Niski did 23.2k damage. That's more than the entire enemy team did combined.
Yeah.
Oh my
Conversations
God.
we had during this game that may be considered disrespectful. Someone said, this is the type of game I wouldn't mind if a team surrendered. And then he said, it's too early for that. Because it was
What jerk would have said that?
I mean, the thing about this game is not like, oh, it's a smash. We've seen smashes before. This is like a historic smash. The gold lead was the largest they've ever seen. Niski absolutely popped off, but the entire team ran this game completely over.
Yeah,
largest gold lead at 15.
It would be a game that a scrim is surrendered here, by the way. If this was a scrim, we would not have seen the end of the game. It probably would have been over at the 8-minute mark, and then we start again. So 100 Thieves is just doing the due diligence of giving it their all and making sure that Cloud9 has to finish the game.
And that's what you want to see, right? I mean, kudos to 100 Thieves. They're going to press, they're going to push, they're going to try no matter what in the face of what seems like now insurmountable odds against Cloud9. Already looked dire coming into the day, but look, it's becoming increasingly clear that this is a lopsided bet.
Yeah, so mega lopsided. Let's talk a little bit about why it was so lopsided. The level 1 was misexecuted by C9. They attempted an invade, were unable to get it, had to back away. Meteos got 3 buffed. Concurrently, you also had, I think, a mistake by not first picking Aphelios. The fact that they had the opportunity to first pick Aphelios, picked the Syndra, which had no impact in lane whatsoever in slowing down Niski.
See,
and they technically knew
this is one of the problems that I have with NALCS casting, is that they always talk about things once they've happened, and they're not willing to talk about things proactively. So if I was like an announcer for this game, and I was talking to an audience of 85,000 people or 200,000 people or whatever is going on right now, I would probably be much more critical of teams during the draft phase, like somebody like LS is, because LS understands things and he's not afraid of speaking his mind because he has built up so much knowledge over the past 10 years that he has a lot of intuitive understandings as well as intellectual understandings of what's going on in the draft. And it just appears that the people in coaching positions and analyst positions for a lot of the teams do not think deeply about the game. Or I mean, that's the only explanation that I have. Or they're afraid of making decisions because like the players overrule them or something like that. But eventually, as time goes on, I think esports organizations are going to be much better at being like resilient to game changes, because when you figure out one patch and then the patch switches, a bad team takes time to figure it out. A good team knows it immediately because they have built up a foundation of knowledge that's much easier to transition from patch to patch. So like when you go from patch to patch, there are minor changes that are made to champions. Sometimes there are big changes, but for the most part, there's small changes to champions, small changes to the map, small changes to how much gold different things give you, small changes to champion kits, just a lot of small things, small changes to items. And unless you have a base knowledge of all of the items and champions in the game, it's going to take you time to figure out what the changes mean and how they change things.
Crumbs, any other thoughts on adjustments for 100 Thieves coming into Game 3 and what might give them an upside shot of coming
So
out?
the Aphelios is the first one, and the second one is for Ryoma. Enough of the Syndra priority. I understand why Syndra's valuable. She's very safe in a lot of matchups, but he's been so much better, or at least able to fall behind and find plays to come back with other picks. So Zoe's, LeBlanc's. I want to see him on these picks, and I know that if he loses lane, at least he's going to give you something after. When he loses lane on Syndra, he's doing nothing because he can't be mobile. So I need to see him get out of the lane and help his side lane.
All right, so DFS Bachelor is gonna jump on.
Because I vote Niski has been basically the best Zoe in the league the entire time, but Ryoma's is pretty good, so you can kind of get a 2-for-1, like you're saying, where you're denying Niski maybe his best champion this split, getting it to Ryoma, who can then, even if he doesn't dominate lane or they fall behind, he can maybe set up some picks for the team.
Niski has said.
Yeah, now we talked about
that Niski has said in interviews that Zoe is his best and most tryhard champion.
Hey.
What's up?
What's up?
How's it going?
Good. So, how do you want to do this?
I can't see you yet.
Oh, I'm probably I'm streaming on OBS right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Can you see me now or no?
No.
All right. So I guess you'll only be able to hear me then.
Okay.
Or I could let me see if I could stream it on Discord too at the same time.
Oh, what are you stream? Right, so is your stream going to be able to hear us?
Yes. Here, I'll send you the link to my stream.
Well, I just have it set up like I have it before.
Well, so if you put my stream on your screen, then we can go over the same like screen. You know what I mean?
I will.
So I'll bring it up on my screen.
Okay.
So you're making burgers right now?
Yeah, I'm making Hell's Kitchen burgers. So the caramelized bacon jam is in the fridge cooling. The special sauce is in the fridge cooling. Patties are marinating. So it's just like, do you ever watch that show, Hell's Kitchen?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So they have the restaurant as well, and so I have the cookbook, and so I'm making the recipe straight from the cookbook.
That's cool.
So I did the Wellington like a week or two ago. Done a few of those things.
How's your kid feeling?
He's feeling a little bit better. He's feeling better. I was up all night just checking on him because I was nervous, but he's doing better today. So I'm fucking beat. I slept like 2 hours.
That sucks.
Yeah, for no reason. He's fine, but
yeah, it's better safe than sorry, I guess, right? So
yeah. I basically just went in and felt his head while he's sleeping every few minutes.
Word.
And then once T1 lost in that first match,
oh my god.
I was like, well, my night is shot unless
I make
a. So I went and made a 2-gamer. So I was sitting up waiting for fucking LCK news for the 2-gamer, and then I was sweating it because I almost took that shit down again. I finished 42nd out of 2,000 or whatever.
Yeah, I came in 6th place in the $33 contest. I was in 4th place for a while, and then I had a lineup that like had a chance of coming in first, but Invictus Gaming needed to sweep, and they just won. Basically, they let RNG score too many points. So
gotcha.
The teams that had other favorites plus RNG were a little bit better than Invictus Gaming plus like Griffin.
Right.
And then Hanwha Life killed me at the end because they 2-0'd a Freak of Freaks.
Yeah, that's what saved me. Is I just said, you know what, dude, I didn't have any. I was going all RNG and the opposite. So I just put a 2-gamer in, stacking those two, and that's the one that won me money. So
yeah. Can you like retweet my stream and say that we're going live with our preview for tonight, and then like you can.
Yeah, I guess I don't even need to record this for my channel. I don't really care.
You should. I think it's better that way, because this way we'll have access to it on both channels.
Yeah, I'm just gonna upload it after I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm not putting it live. So hold on, let me go sort this out.
And I've got my sheet and everything set up, so like we can show it off a little bit on your stream.
Okay, so let me go find you. Okay. Oh, I see.
Just want to make sure I don't miss anything from the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, the games were interesting last night. I think through the first 2 sets, like the fact that EDG won without scoring a ton of points was kind of, they were the first match, right? It was EDG versus LNG.
Yeah.
So they won without scoring a ton of points, and then T1 just outright loses. And
T1
then,
fucked me over, dude. Those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Hey, Brent. Am I live right now on your show right now?
Yep.
Oh, so everyone can hear me?
Yeah.
I'm just talking to you like we're not even on, like it's behind the scenes. My bad.
Give them a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, it's a peek behind the curtain. I'm fucking tired today. And I don't have any booze, right? I need to go get booze.
Word.
Okay, let's... Okay, how do I get the hell on your... Oh, I just need to click what I just retweeted, right? I can get there?
Yeah, I think you just liked it. Or actually, okay, good. You got it. Yeah, so you could just click on that and it should be good.
All right. So I want to put that as my background instead of DraftKings. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
So wherever you normally put DraftKings, just throw up the stream.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just...
and then you might need to turn off your camera. Unless you want to have it twice. But that seems a little excessive.
Let's click this stream. Well, sorry for you people who are listening live how boring this is. I'm setting up and I am not great at this, so that's my fault.
No worries. You should have saw last night. It was like 2 a.m. or whatever, and I was just kind of like trying to not be too loud to wake anybody else up, like my roommate or my brother. And yeah, so I was kind of like giving short commentary on the games and like explaining what's going on. Okay, so 100 Thieves finally changed their draft. They pick Varus and they banned out Aphelios. So this is definitely exploitable. I'm just giving commentary on the pick ban that's going on right now.
I'm behind. I can hear myself on your stream right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's a
So
champion. That's one of the things that we're looking for Thieves as well.
Yeah, so I guess if you go into your stream settings, you could probably turn off the desktop audio so that you don't get it twice.
Gotcha.
So, or I can throw on my headphones too.
There we go. I turned down the... Well, I'm playing yours.
Maybe they know you're casting the game.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, so basically right now in this draft, they went Varus and then they went Ezreal and Zoe. So this is going to be the third matchup for Zoe. She's just going to dominate again, probably. Zoe versus LeBlanc.
I'm just getting everything. I don't know if I have this set up wrong or what.
So you should be recording whatever is showing up in OBS. So like I would do a practice recording on that.
I haven't even started recording yet. Yeah, I could like on OBS I have your little Hangouts profile up, and that's in the corner where you normally be.
Okay.
And then I have what's on your screen up all the way with the chat.
Okay.
But it's still yeah, I don't really know how this works.
So what I would say is
I haven't started recording yet.
Okay, so if you go into scenes, you could create a new scene based off of one of your other ones, so that if I do this again in the future, you can kind of like perfect it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'll do. Yeah.
So I think that you would probably need to turn down or off the desktop audio, which is really important.
I turned that off.
And then you would want to have the display capture to be the window that has my stream on it.
That's what I have.
And then you'd want to turn off your individual camera because actually I guess that'd be kind of lagging behind. So maybe I just won't show you. It would probably better to show you. So it's a test run. We'll just see how it goes.
Yeah. That's fine. I probably won't even... I'm just not going to worry about uploading this.
Yeah, if it turns out good, then throw it up. But if not...
I'm just going to turn off OBS and I'll just join your stream, and that's what I'll do for the day.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
And I could also send you the video file if you wanted to do that.
So, yeah, that's fine. So I just turned OBS off.
Okay. All right, so we're still in pick ban. So basically, 100 Thieves picked Tom Kench. So that's this guy right here. And I was explaining to the stream earlier that, like, this champion, there are a lot of champions that are like Varus and Aphelios that are basically like pocket passers. They need a lot of support from their team in order to succeed. So Tom Kench is like one of the best quote-unquote offensive linemen in League of Legends because he can get the AD carry out of like any bad situation.
Right.
And then Jarvan's pretty similar in that way. And then they're a little bit more aggressive than they've been the last couple of matches because they've been getting shit on the first 2 games so far today. So they have to switch things up.
Gotcha.
And then this is very unique. So this is Hecarim. I don't know if he's been picked in North America all year. So Hecarim, Pantheon, Zoe, Ezreal, Yuumi. So I think this is a much better draft for 100 Thieves than they've had the past few matches. I still think that Cloud9 is the better team, so if I was betting on this match, I'd pick C9. But this should be a closer game than the last few, which is pretty good. So I don't know if I like picking Ezreal, Yuumi into Varus because he has Grievous Wounds and he's going to be able to poke them down in lane. So I would expect Varus to go Arcane Comet with lethality, which is like one of the only ways that they can like put out pressure in that lane. Because one of the problems for the first few games has been 100 Thieves like losing across the map. Like they're losing in every single position, which is less than ideal. So I'll throw that on my other screen, and we can leave the sound on just in case anything interesting happens. But otherwise, we'll get into the DraftKings side of things.
Yeah.
So have you
it's
had,
only 3 games.
Yeah, have you had a chance to look at anything so far?
I have. Well, I know the favorites. We got Sunning, VG, and Top Esports are your 3 favorites.
Yep.
As I go through, if I'm trying to find like right now, just the underdog I like the most, it's probably, I guess it's between OMG and Rogue Warriors. Like V5, I think has big upside, but for some reason, I just feel like they're going to give up a ton of points to Sunning. I like Sunning tonight, even though they've burned me the last 3 times I've played them.
Yeah.
But like me personally, right now, I think underdog I'm leaning towards is Rogue Warriors. But that kind of scares me because Top Esports is pretty good.
Yeah, I think that if I was doing the ownership like projections before like diving into it very deep and considering the different options, I would say from a popularity perspective, the most popular team, not necessarily best team on the slate, is Top Esports. So people are going to think to themselves, Top Esports is the biggest mismatch versus Rogue Warriors on the slate. Whether or not that's true, I'm not sure. I think Rogue Warriors has had some good matchups. They've beaten some good teams throughout the year, but I think that the public perception is going to be heavily Top Esports favored.
Sure.
So I think if you look at potential storylines for why Rogue Warriors could potentially win this matchup, is because, like, let's say their AD carry does really bad, and Photic, because Photic is the guy that has the he has competition for his position now. Remember, like we were talking about Jackie Love. Yeah. So Jackie Love is actually listed on DraftKings now too.
Right.
So
he's not playing tonight though. The starters were released and Photic is starting, so that's good.
Yeah. So but now we're in a situation where he could theoretically be subbed in, so it does make the projection for Photic a little worse, because if Rogue Warriors wins like the first game or the second game, I could see Top Esports being like, fuck it, just throw him out there, let's see what happens. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's probably not likely because like they are still a good team, and unless they plan on using Jackie Love in playoffs, it's probably not a good decision.
Right.
If I was in charge of Top Esports, I would probably just rip the Band-Aid now and have Jackie Love start, because his talent is undeniable. Like, he has won a world championship before, and he was the AD carry for a world championship team, meaning he knows how to play. he knows how to carry a game in the biggest situation possible.
Right.
So actually, he may not have been the main carry on that team. He may have been the second most important player, but he would play stuff like Kaisa, so he would look good. So maybe he wasn't necessarily the winning difference for his team, but his team put him in positions to win games. And
Right.
I think everybody remembers that, and that's why he has such a good reputation. So I think Top Esports definitely going to be the most popular team on the slate. I think that Sunning is also going to be extremely popular. So
Yeah, and as I look, VG is starting. I just like, of all the favorites, Victus Gaming is the biggest salary saver. So that makes me a little bit excited as well. That might be where I start.
yeah, so I would say that's going to give you the lowest percent chance of having both teams win. So I have this set up for. Let me know when you can see the spreadsheet.
I'm like, when I'm watching the stream, so I'm a little bit behind. I'm looking at what you're streaming. I'm a little bit behind that, so it'll take a second for me to see that.
Okay.
I can hear you in live time, but as
Yeah.
far as following along with the stream, I'm like 7 seconds. I think is normal. Pretty
Okay.
sure that's normal.
Well, actually, so I guess it doesn't make sense to have your camera on the screen because we can hear you in real time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need. I mean, I don't know how it appears to the viewers.
Yeah.
I'm like, when I'm watching the stream, so I'm a little bit behind. I'm looking at what you're I'm also streaming.
Oh.
sending out I'm a another little bit
tweet
behind that.
Okay.
So it'll.
Yeah, I just checked this. I just checked the stream, so actually we can hear you, and like your camera syncs up with everything. So I'm gonna throw you back on there.
Okay. Cool.
So that's
Perfect.
good. So okay, so if we take a look at this matrix that I made, this basically tells us like what is the percent chance that both teams in your lineup win their match based on Vegas odds.
Right.
So we can go. We can look at it this way is probably the simplest way to look at it for an individual team. So
Right.
Top Esports is an 87% chance favorite to win. Sunning is an 87% chance favorite to win. Vici Gaming is 60%. OMG's 47%. Rogue Warriors 20%. V5 20%. So I think that Top Esports should be a bigger favorite over Rogue Warriors than Sunning is over V5. So
Sure.
Top Esports is the most skilled team on the slate, the most popular team on the slate. But the best team for giving up fantasy points is V5. So we're probably going to see Sunning extremely popular against the V5 and
Right.
Top Esports extremely popular against Rogue Warriors, making Vici Gaming a contrarian play.
Right. I just don't know how you're supposed to afford. If you tried to stack Sunning and Top Esports, I guess you could put a support in the captain spot or something for savings there, but they're so expensive on the slate.
Yeah, you're going to have to drop down.
You just got to do something. And I mean, Victory 5, I know it's kind of tempting because I guess if they do win, but they've won in their last 10 games, they've won exactly one match. They haven't, or one game, they haven't even won it. They're just getting 2-0'd everywhere by everybody. They're just terrible.
Yeah, that is accurate. So what else do you think about the slate? Let me fix up the sheet a little bit while you go over let's go first matchup first.
Yeah, so Sunning V5, I mean, we just talked about it. Like, Sunning can be inconsistent as well. Like, I've noticed when they're on and engaged, they can score a ton. But even if you look at their last, 5 matches, they do have one win in there, but they just sometimes give up. It seems like they just aren't there.
Yeah, so I think we've talked about this before, that Sunning plays around their 80 carry.
Right.
Huan Feng. Yeah, so he's the most important player on Sunning, and in games that they win, I think he is almost always the most important player because the entire team plays around him. So if I'm getting exposed, if I'm starting a stack with Sunning, I definitely want to have him as my captain. But in order to have him as a captain on this slate, I think that you're going to need to pick an underdog, and all of the underdogs are pretty sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's, who do we think has a better chance at winning, OMG or Rogue Warriors? I think right now it's OMG, right? Isn't that what your sheet showed as well?
Yeah, OMG from a Vegas perspective is definitely has a higher percent chance of winning. But in terms of scoring, I think that Rogue Warriors and V5 may actually have like very similar odds in terms of scoring.
I guess what I'm going to be thinking about going into tonight, since the three favorites are such, they seem like clear favorites, there seems a clear path for the three favorites to win. Is it worth it to do something different? Like I don't like to do very often, or put a support in the captain spot or something so I can jam two favorites in there, title of the sex tape?
Yeah.
Or which loser is it going to be a case where you just take the upside of one winning team and try to pick the losing team that scores the most points? Does that have a shot at winning? It seems weird, the strategy for tonight.
Yeah. So in order, let me just write that down so that I remember it and can touch on the different points that I wanted to mention. So in order for one of the favorites, ADC, mid, and probably jungle, in order for that lineup to succeed, we need an underdog to win at least one match, at least one game, and be close in at least two games. Right. So if you look at the Invictus Gaming versus RNG series from last night, RNG won the first game, even though they should have lost.
They weren't a total shit fire. They put up some points.
Oh, yeah, and they're a good team. They're a good team. So they were like third or fourth in the league when that matchup started. It's just the salaries were a lot more separated than they probably should have been, which is why a lot of players had RNG last night.
Right.
So in order for us to roster a Knight, Photic, Angel, or Huanfeng, we need an underdog to win at least one game and to be close in two games.
Right.
So if we'll just take the V5 set, for example, if V5 wins one of the games, they have the chance to win that game with 20 kills or 25 kills. Mm-hmm. They need to do that in order for us to justify having them on our roster. Because so that's one thing to take into consideration. And then for the favorites for jungle,
I mean, Karsa looks nice to me right now. He's got 100-point upside.
Definitely.
You get him for 10-8 in the captain spot. That might be a route you can go and start affording.
Yeah.
The favorites.
So the next thing I wanted to go over was, if you have a favorite with a jungle topper support as your captain, the way that the slate shapes up for that is to have you would want to have two of the favorites 2-0.
Right.
Because then you're getting the huge games not played bonuses.
Right.
And that will fundamentally change what kind of lineups can take down a tournament.
Right.
And then...
And I mean, I think I can see a pretty simple path for Top Esports to beat Rogue Warriors 2-0. Right? Yeah. That's not that crazy.
Yeah. So the most popular... I think we might actually have a slate tonight where the most popular captains are junglers, tops, and supports.
Right. I think you just have to. Just makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, so if you're putting together a lot of lineups, like I'll probably have between 20 to 26 lineups in the $33 contest tonight. I think that like an easy way to be contrarian is to project underdogs to win, and then also to have some of the underdogs projected to win one game and stay close in two games. Or I think game stacking might actually be viable tonight, because I could see Sunning versus V5 being a bloodbath both ways, and then throwing in like Top Esports as your team just to get the team upside. And then I'd probably do a lot of combinations like that, where I do Sunning plus V5, Sunning plus Rogue Warriors, and then Top Esports plus V5, Top Esports plus Rogue Warriors, and then switch those around. I think those two matchups probably have the higher kill upside. So in order for Vici Gaming to get there, they really need to win 2-0, and their Vegas odds make it unlikely for them to 2-0.
Right. I mean, even it's just if you just highlight the three favorites and start trying to make a lineup, I put Karsa in the captain spot.
Yeah. Okay.
It's tough. You still end up 400 over.
Yeah, so let's get back into the sheet. Just an update on the game that's going on right now. Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves. The gold is tied right now. Both teams have 3 kills.
There it is.
Yeah. So now I've got the sheet on the screen. So we're gonna switch out. What team do you want to go over? We'll just pick one team.
So right now I did a top esports VG stack. Just those two, a 3-4 stack, 3 top esports, 4 VG.
Okay, and you have Karsa as the captain.
And it leaves 0 salary. It could be very chalk, or not, because it's no exposure to that early game, so that's a little different.
Okay, so we have. Just let me get on the right spot first.
Sure.
Okay, so if we have a 4-3 stack with Karsa as the jungler, which I think will be very popular.
Mm-hmm.
You can do 4-3 stacks. You don't have to do 3-4.
Okay.
So
we can get four top esports players in, you're saying?
Yeah. And then
let's see. I guess yeah, because you could use their support.
Yep. So
yeah, we could go to QQ, I believe is his name. Let me make sure he's starting. Yeah, he's starting.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could. Well, I have no. That still makes it. Still makes it 3 top esports, 4 VG.
What are you throwing in there?
So I've got Karsa in the captain spot, Cube as the top, AIX as the jungler, Forge as the mid, Photic as the AD carry.
Do you have 4 from top or 4 from VG?
4 from VG.
Oh, I thought we were doing Karsa.
Well, that's the only. It is Karsa, but I couldn't get 4 top esports, so I just did 3, even though it's not ideal.
Oh, so you're stacking it with VG. I was saying throw in the. Okay, so if you look at the 4-3 stacks, VG Gaming, you're right. You can't fit VG Gaming in with them, but you can fit all the underdogs in with Karsa.
Right. So right. You could fit all. I'm just was looking at a lineup with just the favorites.
Okay.
And the only way I could fit the. Put the 3 favorites on the screen and make a team where I'm just picking players from the presumptive favorites.
Yeah.
Was a 3-4 top esports VG stack with 0 salary left.
Yeah. So this is what you have. You have Karsa, Cube, AX, Forge, Photic, QQ, VG Gaming.
Yeah.
Okay. So another potential thing to do in this situation is, let's get back to the DraftKings screen.
And QQ has some upside, so I don't necessarily mind putting. I guess he just put up 91 points against Sunning in their last, in his last match.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
And that gives you a little bit more salary, and that would allow you to do a 4-3 with top esports.
Yeah. So another thing. So if we take a look at the individual roster spots, this might be better on Excel. So I haven't really used my sheet to do this before, but if we take a look at the 3 favorites, we can look for salary differences that would let us just stack the 3 favorites. Like there may be a way to stack the 3 favorites.
Right.
Where
that's what I was looking at. This is basically the only way I could find, unless I put a support in the captain spot.
Yeah. So on your DraftKings right now, throw in. So the cheapest team top
is
laner.
VG, Cube for VG.
Yeah, but okay, and then for top esports and Sunning, it goes back and forth. So Sunning is a little cheaper at team, top, and 80
and
carry.
I suppose Cube seems like an okay captain too. He's got some 80, 90 point upside. It could be another way to save some salary if you want to do a top in the captain.
I don't know. I don't really trust that matchup, because I think that there are a lot of like game scripts where VG Gaming like wins and plays it slow.
In my ideal world, I would be stacking top esports and Sunning. That's what I want. That's what I'm working on trying to do. That's what I prefer to do.
Okay, so if we want to go that route, let's go back down to Karsa captain.
And I feel like QQ just has more ups. If we have to end up getting a support in the captain, I feel like he's got more upside than Sword Art does.
So
Just based on his recent history, I suppose. I could be totally wrong.
So if I was running out Karsa as my captain, there's two ways to look at it. You could think to yourself, Karsa is going to have a lot of kills, which is going to limit the kill upside of his AD carry. And if the AD carry is going to perform a little worse, that probably negatively impacts the support. So the upside of the support is attached to the games not played bonus as well. So whatever support you think has a better chance of going 2-0 is the one that I would want.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Which right now looks like Sunning, I guess. I mean, Top Esports, and I think they're both overmatched, the two underdogs there.
Yeah. I think that V5 has given up more kills. And I think that V5 is probably more likely to get 2-0'd.
Gotcha.
But I'm not sure, because I think one thing that V5 could do is make the game like so out of control that they just build up a big lead on Sunning, and Sunning like doesn't draft around it correctly. Because if you're Sunning, you might think to yourself like, we're better than V5. V5 can't beat anybody, and then they like start making like poor draft decisions just because they're not taking them seriously. So I think the first game specifically, we could see an upset.
Oh, that's interesting. Ben is starting tonight instead of Bew.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ben is starting.
Yeah, Ben is starting, yeah. Did I have that correct?
I don't, and I just, God, he looks terrible. Does he have any, like, well, he's only played 3 matches since January. Has not scored more than 43 points in any of them.
So Allies has been a player of the game in the past when they've won. I think if V5 can get, like, Aatrox or something like that, we could see a carry performance from V5, from Allies.
Okay.
So that, I don't want him as my captain, but he will give me some like salary saving upside.
Sure. Yeah, I mean he really does. For if you're doing a Top Esports Sunning type stack, which I'm trying to do right now. Still tough.
Yeah, well, in that situation, you would need to get Allies from V5, so you'd probably want to do like Sunning plus VG Gaming. But okay, so let's go back to there are no possible combinations of Top Esports with Sunning if you have
captain
Karsa.
Nope.
Yeah. So let's just go all the way down to support because that is the most salary saving we can get.
Right.
So if this one doesn't work, if this does work out, if we can make some lineups like this, then maybe we take a look at top as well.
Right.
So if we're doing Top Esports with Sunning, there are 2 possible 4-3 stacks, but they both require the support.
Right. QQ in the captain spot.
Yeah. So for this lineup to win, I think that you would need to have 2 2-0s.
Right. Which is possible. I'm probably going to run something like this, unfortunately.
Yeah. And then if we look at the 3-4s, there are 2 possible 3-4s. So I think those are going to be very popular lineups tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it was pretty close, so let's take a look at what a top captain looks like.
Yeah, and it does leave you salary on the table no matter which. So it's a 4-3 with Sunning as your team.
Yeah, so you can't do it with the top captain. You can't do a 4-3 with top captain.
Yeah, you just barely have enough salary. You can play either, and so I have a 4-3 with QQ as the captain. Obviously, it's a 4-3 Top Esports, and then I have Sword Art. So I have for support, my top support and team. I stacked Sunning.
Okay.
And then the other positions are all Top Esports.
Okay. Yeah, so...
And that leaves 300 salary left over.
Yeah, so if we get an upset, that lineup will die.
Will die. Yes,
Yeah.
It will die quickly. But, I mean, that can happen with...
Yeah, of course. Of course. So, that's not great. So let's take a look at the most contrarian favorite, Vici Gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what that allows us to do. Because this should give us a decent amount of savings.
Right.
And then you could look for like pivots and stuff like that. So for 4-3 stacks with the 80 carry, you like something like this seems salvageable, where you do VG Gaming plus Top Esports, and then VG Gaming plus Top Esports. So this is probably going to be like if you went from Top Esports, if you subbed out this team, then you could make it work, which is pretty interesting. So if you did like iBoy, Cube, Aches, Forge, Photic, Hang, and then take out Top Esports, and then put back in VG Gaming's team, you'd have five roster spots from VG Gaming. So then you would need to pivot off of one of these players.
Right.
And there should be salary savings there somewhere.
So you're running a 4-3 VG stack. So who's your captain? You're running iBoy and the captain?
Yeah.
Let me put it together, and it's Top Esports. So we got 369, who's starting tonight, I believe. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And then so I'm assuming your jungler is AIX then, because you're correlating, right?
Yeah.
And your mid is Forge.
Yep.
80 carrier, Photic.
Yep.
Support, Hang. And so team, yeah, we even if we wanted to go to if we did Top Esports there, so we're 1,100 over.
It should be 500 over.
Well, if we add Vici Gaming there, but now we have 5 Vici Gaming players. So then you'd have to go to the mid. Can't get the salary savings there. I don't see how it can be done. Oh, the top. If you go to Cube at the top, but then you still have 5 players you have more players from Vici.
Yeah. So one thing that you could do is take one underdog as a pivot. So if you did like CLX,
right?
How much? That's a lot of salary savings, right? So that's like 1,400. So you could take any of these lineups and do a VG plus Top Esports stack, and then throw CLX as your support. And if V5 wins like one game, and CLX has a good game, then that could be a viable lineup. Or like if you get the upset, and then that might actually let's go back to Top Esports. So if you did Top Esports plus Vici Gaming and did a 3-3-1. Yeah, I think a 3-3-1 would work. So like how much salary saving did we get going from QQ to CLX is 1,400.
Yeah, CLX is only 4,400. He's cheap.
Yeah, so there are definitely combinations out there where you can pivot by incorporating CLX, and it sucks.
And even for me, I believe Cold is starting at support for OMG. Is that right? So he's super cheap too. And of all the games that I'm least confident in going 2-0 for the favorite is that one.
Yeah.
So Cold at 40. Cold is also at 4,400.
But you have too much Vici Gaming, I think, to justify putting Cold in there.
Gotcha.
Because that's the same game, same matchup.
Right.
So that's a problem.
Well, I mean, even if they win one, like we just talked about, if they win one game, and maybe that's a closer matchup, so going to the support from that game where I think it's more likely for them to win one, doesn't make sense.
I don't think so, because, like I was saying earlier, in order for this kind of roster construction to work, I think that we need the games not played bonuses. So I don't think you're going to get
understood.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get a good performance, enough of a good performance out of Cold.
Right.
For that. So if you were stacking Top Esports with Sunning and you wanted to throw OMG in there, I think that makes a lot more sense.
Gotcha.
Like if you wanted to do an 80 carry or a mid as your captain, then you take like the support and team from OMG projecting the upset.
Right.
Like a 2-0 upset, and then you get to fill in the rest of your lineup with Top Esports and Sunning.
A 3-2-2. I think if I think that's a good possibility that's the first place lineup tonight, something like that. It's either going to be that or it's going to be a support at captain goes absolutely off.
Yeah.
And here's your favorite. I think those are only really 2 choices.
I think those are probably the 2 most likely. Like if you're putting out 1 lineup or 2 lineups or like a handful of lineups and you want to have high equity and like feel good about your projection and like
Right.
not really take a huge risk, or if it's like a cash game or something like that, I could definitely justify that. I think you
Right.
are limiting your upside, which is never great. Like, you don't want to do that, but if you're correct and the three favorites win, a lot of the time the best lineups are going to be supports.
Right. They have to be, because that's where you're risking. Supports generally only score so many points. So if Sword Art from Sunning, if they win, but he goes out and scores, his average, which is 48.6. If you pivot down to a guy like Cold, who's only 4,400, and they lose, and he gets you 23 or 24 points, you haven't sacrificed much upside. In fact, for the salary, you've almost made better value.
Potentially.
So
yeah. Yeah. And I think
hey guys, hit that like button too when you're watching. Be good to Mike and hit the like button. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I have no idea if I'm even seeing the stream accurate live. I don't
That's funny.
But it's recording okay, right?
Hey Keekster, what's up?
My boy. Key Jester's my boy.
Oh, is it Keekster or Key Jester?
I've called it both.
Word.
But if sometimes I have to he's won some contests on Fantasy Draft before where he and my boy Zoe. I see Zoe McNeil in here. That's my boy too.
Word.
Love seeing Zoe in here. The whole DFS Whisper squad, all those guys. I love them all. They're great guys.
Hey Keekster, can we get a phonetic spelling of your name, please? Thank you.
If I remember this Key Jester, I won't misspell it again, because I remember he won a free entry and I misspelled it because I was calling it Keekster, and I've known him forever. It was a bad thing.
That's funny. So it looks like the Cloud9 series is going to finish out 3-0, which is the most expected outcome going into that. No surprises there.
Right.
Okay, so back into tonight's slate.
Yeah, we can pretty much lock this up. I think we've covered it, right? We've covered it. Good.
Yeah, so I wanted to show the projections that I'm kind of working on right now. So without going into too much detail, because I don't really want to give away the secret sauce, I think that there's a way to create projections based on the Vegas, the implied totals from Vegas. So if you think that a team is going to win 87% of the time, then you take the implied scoring from their salary, which is a percentage of the salary, and then multiply that by the Vegas odds. You get a projection of what Vegas is telling you they're going to score.
Right.
So Vegas is not doing that intentionally, but I think since DraftKings bases their salaries so much off of Vegas,
Yep.
I think that it's a good way to kind of get a rough idea of how many points a team is going to score. So if we take this and we filter it down to the position level, we'll just do this for support.
The way you said it was right. I'm wrong. It's just easier to remember Key Jester, but I know it's Keekster. It just is.
Funny.
I don't know. I'm old. I don't know, man. I'm old.
So if we take a look at the projections for this, so because these are huge underdogs, like if you look at everybody, if you look at Lay, Max, CLX, and Cold, CLX is the mid laner for V5, but DraftKings keeps listing him incorrectly. So in stacks that you include V5, you could have 280 carries and 2 mid laners. So it's basically like you're getting another captain slot without the multiplier. So I think that gives you huge upside. I love V5 lineups for that reason.
Right.
They're low percentage, but like I said, if they win one game and stay close in another game, I could definitely see them winning somebody a lot of money tonight. And I think another way to be different from other teams is to throw in 4 V5 players on your team.
Sure.
Because you're going to,
hope for a miracle.
Yeah. And so like you want to have limited exposure to that unless you're a huge gambler, like some people I know, maybe myself.
I'm going to have exposure to that. I'm actually going to make I was going to say too, tomorrow we got to start a little bit earlier. I got to take my dear mother to the doctor.
Okay.
So like I'm leaving here around 11:15 my time.
If you wanted to, so what contest is that for?
Whatever the hell's tomorrow night. Let me look.
Sure. Okay. So they don't have anything listed for 4-7 yet.
Yeah,
The
they
next
will
one's
though.
4-8. Yeah, I think there will be probably because everybody's trying to catch up.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. There's the $15. It's Tuesday at 11 p.m. my time. LOL Insomnia 100K to first.
Yeah, so we've got a few days to make the video for that one. They don't have the salaries out yet for that, so they'll probably have a 2 days a slate for I guess Monday for you, Tuesday for me, and then if they
whenever
release
that
if they release that today and you want to do it tonight, we can do that tonight.
Yeah, tonight or early or in the morning, whatever you decide to do.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be up tilting and streaming the those matchups.
Gotcha.
So just the thing I wanted to take a look at from this is the highest projected support is QQ, and there are 2 different projections that I'm testing out to see which one is going to be closer, but they're very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the range for QQ if they win is if this is basically them projecting it as a 2-0. So if it's a 2-0, this is what's going to happen, and if it's a 0-2, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
And then if you get one loss, this is going to drop down a little bit normally, and this is going to go up if you get a win. So Cold is a big underdog, but is he the cheap? Wow, he's so cheap. Oh, yeah, I guess that's what you were saying before.
Yeah, I kind of like I like that idea. I'm probably gonna go when I do my. I think I'm only making a couple lineups. We'll see. I'm beat and I'm cooking Hell's Kitchen burgers.
Yeah.
I can't. But and it's a longer process. You think, oh, burgers. No, the caramelized bacon jam takes forever. It's a pain in the ass. And this is my 4th time making them. This is the first time where I really think I perfected the jam. Anyways,
that's cool.
Yeah, I've tried several times, but this time I think I finally figured it out.
Nice.
But I think for me, it's going to be, like if I'm making 2 lineups, I'm going to do one totally contrarian V5.
Yeah.
Like you said, like just for me, just why the hell not?
Sure.
And hope for a miracle. Stranger things have happened. And then the other one's going to be like we did before, where I could stack the favorites, but maybe go a support in the captain spot and kind of hedge that way.
Sure.
So I'm gonna hedge that same game. So I'm pretty confident in top esports against Rogue Warriors. So I think both of my lineups will feature top esports. One of them will be with Sunning with the contrarian type captain, and then the other one will just be with top esports in the big positions, and then fill in the salary relief with V5.
Cool.
I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, the reason I wanted to show these numbers right here is because it shows how, I think there's a lot of implied ownership in this, because when people are looking at these matchups and they're thinking to themselves, oh, this is a huge favorite, this is a huge underdog, they're going to roster them based on their initial reading of what's going on. Sure. So I think that the ownership percentage for favorites is the ownership for the top 2 favorites, which tonight is going to be Sunning and Top Esports. I could see those players being owned all the way from 30 to 50%.
Right.
Per team or per player, because I think a lot of people are going to do what you're doing tonight and go with the double jungle, double top, double support kind of lineups. Mm-hmm. And I think that also means that OMG is going to be the most highly owned underdog. So I would say Sunning, Top Esports, and OMG are going to be the 3 highest owned teams. Vici Gaming is going to be probably in the mid-teens between.
Right, and I might go there too. Like I'm thinking about that too, because I do. Vici Gaming's been good to me every time I play as well.
And they do have a chance of being the highest scoring team on the slate. So if I was putting percentages on it, I would say the percent chance of Sunning or Top Esports being the highest scoring team, they're probably like 30% each. Right. Vici Gaming's probably 15 to 20%, and then split up the rest amongst the underdogs.
Right.
So I would go Sunning, Top Esports, then you're going to have OMG as a little bit more highly owned than Vici Gaming, because everyone's going to project them as the most likely underdog. So for people who are using mids and 80 carries as their captains, they're going to look to OMG. And then you're going to have Rogue Warriors and V5 being significantly lower owned, probably in like the 5 to 10% range.
Sure.
And I think most of those between between 4 to 6 players from favorites, depending on roster construction. And
Right.
I think that there are a couple other people who kind of give their opinions on DraftKings and stuff that are already talking about CLX. So he might not be as sneaky as I thought he would be. Because I've been playing CLX for like at least a few weeks now, and if that hits tonight and it's popular, I'm gonna be so pissed. Because then I missed out on my opportunity. So if you look at the range, of outcomes, you have 69 to 10. Let's take a look at 80 carry, because this should be pretty extreme. Yeah, so it was 70 to 10, and this one is 23 to 90. So this is like a 70-point difference, and the other one was what, 50 or 60?
Right.
So this is just demonstrating the amount of upside that rostering 280 carries gives you, because if you have 280 carries that go 2-0, you're going to have like one of them is going to be in your captain slot. They're probably going to score about 120, 110 to 130, something like that. Yeah, so that's basically it. Is there anything else you want to add for this before we get there?
No. I think I kind of like how that went. I liked getting into the detail, the lineup construction aspect of it a little more. So I like that. I thought that went really good. And I apologize, I can't be on longer, and then I was a little late.
No worries.
And once I'll keep an eye on all the contests. We'll see about scheduling tomorrow's. So we'll have the normal video uploaded to the site and yada yada yada.
Yeah, definitely.
All that.
So I'm
And
gonna.
good luck to everyone. Stay inside. Be safe. All that stuff.
So good luck with your Hell's Kitchen burgers, and I'm gonna, once this is finished, I'll send you the file for this.
Okay, sounds
so
good.
if you want to chop it up or throw it up on yours as well.
Sure, sounds good.
All right, cool.
Yeah, it just helps get exposure because of YouTube search thing right now. They'll make it easier for people to find if it's on mine than on yours. Cause
I was looking at my settings yesterday, and I went into the monetize portion, and they're like, "Oh, we don't monetize your area of the world." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So I go into like my settings, and it had me listed as Afghanistan.
Oh my god! And make sure you mark that not meant for kids. That's very important to do.
Yeah, I did that too. So
so that might help find, because the other day I literally typed in your name and I couldn't find your page.
That's why it happens, I think. So if anybody has a chance, go search me on YouTube. Try to see if you can find me now, because it was probably thinking to itself, why would we show this random League of Legends channel from Afghanistan to people from the United States?
Right.
So that's ridiculous, but
League of Items is the channel name, at League of Items on Twitter, at DFS Bachelor. We hit the subscribe button to both channels. We appreciate that. So that's pretty amazing. So it's a good thing I put the link to your channel in the video description. That's the only way people could get to it.
Exactly.
So this should make it a little bit easier now.
Yeah.
And I know this is a little bit different format than you guys are used to seeing on my channel. So I appreciate all that. Love the roster construction breakdown.
Yeah. And we're still working on ways to get this in front of people. Like I want to have this out by Wednesday. I'm either going to give out access to it for a fee through Patreon or like Venmo or something like that. And then we'll do that as a test run, see what people think about it. But everybody, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
Kyle, thanks for coming in, DFS Bachelor himself.
Great job. Good luck to everyone tonight. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
Word.
Or later tonight for tomorrow's slate.
Cool. See you.
All right. Later.